Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macroplot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order, you can skip any you don't enjoy. To celebrate the holiday season, we're playing a game called Christmas Capers. A bit of a disclaimer, it's our first time playing this game, so we probably won't do everything perfectly. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find Christmas Capers on drivethrurpg.com. That's drive-thru, THRU, RPG.com. Build your own Christmas Capers character and play a game with friends. Speaking of friends, today we are joined by Errol.
Hello, Errol Corvidbow here. I am a 4-foot-tall halfling. I have an eye patch over my right eye as well as a burn scar down the right side of my face. Typically, I would be wearing a large wide-brimmed hat with a feather protruding from it and a white puffy shirt. However, today I am wearing a gingerbread man costume. The eyes and nose of the gingerbread head are right above the top of my head, and then my face is protruding from the mouth in like a horrific swallowed by gingerbread man type situation.
Also joined by Pearl.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pearl in the Sea, but you can just call me Pearl. I am a 6-foot dragonkin, amethyst in origin, so I have rather dark, deep purple scales along my back that turn into lighter lilac scales along my front. Normally, I would be wearing a sleeveless long cardigan and a bandeau, but much like Errol, I am in some holiday wear. I have a tall black stovepipe top hat, whatever the order of the name is, and wearing a rather dapper tailcoat. If you don't know, it's not a coat made out of tails. It is a coat with tails. I don't know. That's just what they told me. I'm just wearing this costume. They said I'm a nutcracker. I crack nuts.
And Flex.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Flex. Yeah, honestly, at this point, mostly Arcanotech. I'm blonde. People tell me I'm handsome. I don't know who Chris Hemsworth is, but I hear that name like a lot in my life. Right now, I'm just doing what pays, brother. I'm sure we'll get to what I'm doing in a minute.
Thank you. Our adventure begins at the North Pole, where in a previous adventure, the home of Victor von Magi was destroyed. He and his dog, Waffles, were last seen blasting off in an escape pod. Their whereabouts are currently unknown. Meanwhile, a pair of dragonkin named Poppy Linden and St. Lucia, along with the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild, have constructed various structures there, organizing a new holiday to spread joy across the world of draws. However, the holiday is just a front for a more important task. St. Lucia plans to deliver gifts to everyone in a single night, and among these gifts is fresh water melted from the ice caps. It's not a permanent solution to the water crisis, but should buy enough time for the Fire Breathing Kittens to take care of the situation. So, Flex, where are you at right now?
So, Flex is outside the workshop at the moment. Krampus paid the best. I don't know if that's the name most people know him as, but I'm like the evil St. Lucia, where like children are like, oh, if I'm bad, oh no, Mr. Twigs is gonna catch him. Yep, that's the canon name now, Mr. Twigs. But like, I'm outside having a smoke. Like, it looks like I'm wearing like a big Mouse Scouts outfit, but with the head removed, like it's more spacious. Once the head goes on, it becomes tighter and more terrifying. But right now, I just look like a guy taking a smoke break, because I'm thinking like, well, shoot, not all these kids can be bad, and like, who the frick is St. Lucia to decide? I take a deep drag from my entirely tobacco cigarette. and look at the mascot-like visage of Mr. Twigs looking back at me.
Awesome. And you hear like the sounds of cheerful, just jolliness inside, people working, making toys and just cheerful and happy. It's just kind of, and you also hear like the cold winds of the outside just blowing outside, just kind of the counter of like the harsh wilderness on the outside and the warm jolliness on the inside. And we return back to the inside with Errol and Pearl. You two are currently resting alone together in the mess hall of the Grand Toy Shop. It's a massive workshop built from stained glass, causing beautiful yellow and gold light to illuminate the whole building. Warmth from the grand fireplace comforts you from the harsh cold outside, and the smell of chocolate chip cookies and hot cocoa fill the air. You can hear the other guild members working tirelessly in another room, but they're in high spirits.
Pearl, this Pickles the elf, like, his cheer is not, I don't feel like it's heartfelt, you know? He's putting in the work, but it's like his heart's not in it, you know? And like, how do you keep the elves cheery when they just aren't, you know, they're just not feeling it? Like, maybe we should just give them a vacation or something. I don't understand.
Well, you can't expect everybody to enjoy their job, Errol. And currently Pearl is like over closer to the fireplace, trying to like put their hat into the fireplace and just like, they told me it was a stove, but it's not hot. Anyway, Errol, honestly, some elves, some people just aren't going to be happy with what they have to do in life, and sucks to suck. We're just lucky that we rock. Okay, I can't figure out how this hat works. How do you keep it warm? Do you know?
I mean, not really. It feels like keeping it near the fire is kind of a fire hazard, though. Maybe you should be more careful. That these cheap costumes, like, they're not super flame retardant.
So flammable. I feel like, well, we haven't really done a bit of arson in a while.
So at that point, Flex walks in. He's like frosted with snow as he's been sitting outside like a little too long. Thinking so hard that like beads of sweat are crystallizing into frost on his brow. He sits as if he is entirely unaffected because he has done plenty of magical rites to make sure he doesn't feel anything anymore. And no, not cute, bad butt. He's a bad butt. Hey, so I'm thinking we burn this whole operation down to the ground. What are we thinking? Feels like we haven't done arson in a while.
That's what I was saying.
Immediate high five.
Well, I would be okay with it if we get the gifts out at first. I don't want to deprive the kids.
Yeah, but like, is the list
However, this
even?
I do
Have
have
you
a
seen the list that decides who is good and bad? This Heaven's Gate.
You know, I never really thought about it, to be honest with you.
Oh, you haven't? Well, maybe that's the entire basis of the organization. We all just are so busy working 364 days a year.
I will say their labor practices are a little questionable.
Well, maybe we start asking some questions. We light a couple. He looks like around and like touches like a small rune that causes him to cast prestidigitation as his eyes literally light on fire. Let's light a fire under these elves.
Pearl puts the stovetop hat on top of your head.
Okay, can I? I know that DM. How in this system do I do an insight check on her?
This system is more based on challenges. So, let's see. An insight check based on your intelligence. What's your, what was it called? It's...
Oh, what's your, like, perk or quirk?
Trait. What's your trait?
Oh,
what trait did you choose? I think you chose agile. No, you chose crafty. You chose crafty. That's right.
Do you have my sheet up? Because
I don't. I do remember. You chose crafty.
If someone could pull my sheet up, that would be so sweet.
Bruh.
I can't be able to take care of myself. I'm just a simple little Krampus.
I'm a little dragon who doesn't actually know anything about the world. How am I more prepared?
I would like to change my check to see if I'm cuter than Pearl.
Bruh, don't
No,
even
sorry.
start.
More adorable.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm just a little patchwork man trying to put myself together around holiday time.
With this
Oh,
challenge,
if only there was someone to help me.
so you're trying to see if you're cuter than Pearl.
That wasn't originally what I was... Oh, no. I was trying to originally see if she would mind if I lit her hat on fire. Because I
an
know I
insight
can't... Based on what? I mean, I got a 14.
Oh, how many dice did you roll?
1d20? What was I supposed to roll?
This is
You
a
can at least-
D6 game.
Yeah, you can at least the rules are at the very beginning of the group chat. So
I will not look at it, and you can't make me.
Roll 3d6. You have to make at least a 4, I would say, would be the inside check. So what you have to do is one of your d6s have to be a 4. Normally it'd be 2, but since this is a crafty check, which
That
is your trait.
I got a 7 total.
Well, what's your highest dice? Did you roll a 4? So the way this...
Continue. Please explain to me how this game works.
So you rolled 3 dice. What were the results of each dice?
I rolled 3d6s and got 1, 2, 4.
Okay, you made it. You had to get a 4 on one of the dice. At least a 4.
I see.
yeah,
So
it's
the
more of like
checks-
a game of chance instead of combined totals.
So
Yeah,
for
you
the
don't add-
listeners, you're just looking for 1 dice to be high.
And if you get multiple dice that make the check, then you get a bonus.
Well, I didn't.
No.
Do I think she would be upset if I lit her hat on fire?
Well, Pearl, would you be upset if he lit your hat on fire?
I think I'd be a little bit upset, if only because I hadn't worked out how to make it a stove yet.
She'd be a little upset.
I really think this is how a stovepipe hat works. And I look at her with genuine sincerity as I put my robotic hand taking off the Krampus glove and touch the bottom of her hat, heating it up way too hot, way too fast, and immediately setting her hat on fire. But then there's like a moment of panic where I was like, oh, I did not think this would happen.
When it actually catches on fire, Errol, I know you're standing around. When it catches on fire, it kind of like it engulfs in flames, and the flames kind of shoot towards you a bit. They don't reach you, but it's kind of dangerous. You weren't even a part of this.
Whoa, party foul. You burned the hat.
Yo, I'm sorry. I was thinking about you, Errol, and my magic must have just spilled out towards you. I'm sorry. I'm actually like super magic, and he's like trying to recover as he's patting out the flames. and just sometimes I'm like too magic, which is actually could be a good thing. And then he totally breaks eye contact and stares at a wall.
Well, it wasn't very good stove anyway.
Yeah, I'm not great at cooking. My mama. And then he drifts off in 1,000-yard stare.
I think they should call them flammable knot pipe hats.
I feel like stupid is just the better word for it. And Pearl just tosses the rest of it on the floor.
As soon as it hits the floor, you hear some bells ring from the door opening. It's a silver dragon wearing a red suit with very sparkly silver accents. It's Poppy Linden, one of the 2 dragonkin in charge of the operations here. Oh, thank goodness. I was hoping I could find some young strapping helpers here. You're not too busy right now, are you? There's a hat on fire on the ground.
Yeah.
Fully connecting eye contact, ignoring the hat on the ground. Yeah, I'm not doing nothing.
Isn't that a grammatically incorrect sentence?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess someone went to school.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's just what somebody told me when I said that.
Do you want to fight?
Do you want to fight?
He gets nervous. No, I guess no. What's the adventure?
It's terrible. There was a malfunction at the incineration facility. According to our scrying devices, the drill hit something beneath the eyes and shook the whole facility, causing everything to go haywire.
Like, Flex didn't entirely hear what was said, but it sounded like an excuse to leave the room. And I mean, well, yeah, I better go deal with that ice machine that is shooting out fire. And he just like is talking to his chest and puts back on his Krampus head.
This drill, is it for drilling the ice?
Yeah, it drills the ice out of the ice cap underneath and then turns it into giant ice cubes that are melted in the flamethrower room. And then it gets bottled up and sent out to all the good boys and girls. Well, really everyone. Everyone's a good boy and girl.
I wish I had a passive perception.
Well, if the whole operation is at risk from this malfunction, I suppose we better go take a look at it. Though I'm not certain any of us are particularly mechanically inclined. Well, maybe Flex is.
That amount of time passes. And then Flex comes. So is anybody else coming to help me fix this ice machine before everybody gets melted, or?
I got nothing better to do.
Same. I'll go and, seeing how flammable the hat was, I am somewhat concerned about our clothing, but as long as we stay out of the incinerator room, I'm sure we'll be fine.
All right.
Flex sweats. Yeah, let's avoid that incinerator.
Oh, sorry. Pearl just leans over to Errol and whispers, I haven't even asked him about his mother yet.
Please do.
I didn't know this episode was called Flex's Hardest Day Imaginable. Flex has spent a lot of time taking smoke breaks and staring out at the grounds around him. Does he have any sort of general understanding of where the big drill would be?
Oh, yeah. It is, yeah. Well, if you all go out there, you exit the grand toy shop into the perpetual night of the North Pole. A stinging cold hits your once warm skin. The night sky is illuminated by stars, the northern lights, and a raging fire billowing from the incineration facility a few miles to the north. That's where you need to go.
Oh, well, Flex definitely turns his heart on high because he replaced it a long time ago. And if he turns it up too much, it puts out too much heat, too much passion, and he melts the snow, providing a small path of warmth for his friends behind him as his heart burns hot.
That is pretty excellent because Pearl, as a dragonkin, probably just doesn't do that well in cold weather. So she is like right up, like against, like right behind you, just trying to be in that aura of warmth.
Flex is very focused on the horizon ahead.
You know, I've heard some rich people have like heated carriages. This is pretty excellent. Closest thing I've come to that before.
He turns like sharp in his heel, like kind of stepping on Pearl's foot. Ow. And like without noticing excitedly says, "Oh yeah, actually I built one before." And then like nervously looks at her for a second and then begins walking back down the path.
Oh really, Flex? Why don't you tell me what was it like creating the schematics? Who did you work with to build this?
Well, nobody taught me nothing but my mama. And she told me that every machine is like a person. That's why like Warforged or like automatons, like they got souls like everybody else. Even though they ain't made of meat, like they're people just like you and me. So if you wanna make a big carriage to make somebody warm inside, you think about what kind of person that carriage would be. He smiles to himself, looking directly at the horizon.
That was unexpectedly insightful. I want to ask about your mother, but I don't think it's quite the time yet for that, Burn.
You can ask anything. He says that with like a degree of confidence while not making eye contact.
Well, what was she like? What did you admire so much about her?
You ever see like a bee find a flower?
Sure.
And then, have you ever had somebody explain to you what it means?
Yes, that's happened to me quite a lot, actually.
So it's pretty cool that like a bee could just decide that a little flower is enough. I think that's my mama. He wipes his eye, but tries to hide it.
That's so sweet.
You know, I think I quite like you, Flex.
I'm new to this whole having a mom thing, but my mom, man, she's makes like shady deals and does really irresponsible things. It has been a new level of me like learning to become a parent to my parent that is it's not my favorite thing.
Flex becomes comfortable talking about someone else's problems except for him, and then suddenly needs a smoke break. Sits down on a frosted log, lights a 100% tobacco cigarette, and says, well, why do you think she does that, though? Like, best guess. No wrong answers, bud.
So, I mean, she's a doctor, very well educated. I think she is so well educated that she's like, has an inability to assess like, what some people might say like a lack of street smarts of like people that are trustworthy. And, you know, some people have an innate ability to decide who is worthy of their trust. And some people maybe never develop that ability or something. I'm not sure. Something like that.
He passes you his cigarette.
I'm sorry. I don't smoke.
You notice the cigarette, like as you go to pass it to Errol, the flame at the end of the cigarette starts to burn a little brighter when it gets towards Errol. And Errol, you can actually feel a little heat coming off of that cigarette.
That's a little concerning. Something's wrong with your cigarette.
Errol, you hear a familiar voice. It's coming from an inanimate snowman that was kind of just sitting across like nearby, and it's holding a magical record player. Errol, it's me, your friend, the divination wizard, Kaelmon Doriel. I have urgent news to relate to you and your friends. It's coming from the record player.
I'm slapping Pearl on the chest going like, magic snowman.
How did a record player get out here?
I guess put it here.
Oh.
When?
I ordered it on Amazon. I don't know.
My bigger question is, how is this record player answering all of our questions if it's a recording?
And also, what kind of music do you like, Pearl? But I guess that might be irrelevant.
You don't understand. I'm a divination wizard. This is the pre-recorded message. But I know exactly what you're saying and how to respond. It's amazing.
I just start saying a series of numbers. 4, 7, 5, 11. Batman. Do they match?
Yes.
Oh, this dude's powerful.
Hey, Lamont, it's a good thing I'm wearing my dinosaur costume today.
You're not wearing a dinosaur costume, Errol. You're wearing a gingerbread man costume, and your head's coming out of the mouth like an eldritch abomination.
It never ceased to amaze me, Lamont.
Yeah,
but
this
enough
is
of that.
Powerful friend.
Errol, I have urgent news for you. Do you remember when we first met? I was at the creek investigating the Red Dragon cult. I found you badly burned, then nursed you back to health. You told me all about your adventures, and I'm alarmed at how many times you've been burned so far. I suspect something's wrong after all this time. The flames still seem to hunger for you. Perhaps it's not yet over. Perhaps it's not over yet, Errol. I dreamed last night of the time I found you burned on that creek bank. I went to go roll you over, but instead of your face, it was the face of the Red Dragon. I fear an ordeal changed you in some way. I can't say for sure, but maybe the cult put the red dragon's soul inside you?
Well, this is alarming.
Have you noticed flames coming and lashing out at you lately, Errol? Actually, I should know I'm a divination wizard. Yes, they have, haven't they?
Okay, maybe he's not that good,
I'm not that good.
but he's like pretty good.
But I'm good enough to have a pre-recorded predict what 3 people are going to say.
Even the things I'm whispering right now?
Yes.
Okay, actually, this guy's pretty good. He's really got me between the poles on this one.
All right, so what are we supposed to do about this, Kayla? How can we help? Or, like, how can I stop this?
I'm researching into it right now, Errol. Just please be careful around flames and fire as you're heading towards an incineration.
Should I take the record player with me?
It only has a limited amount of time. Speaking of which, this is so stupid, but I don't have much to say.
Hey, baby, this game ain't supposed to be smart.
But I have other news for your friends, Flex Arcana, Pearl of the Sea. Your fates are intertwined with one another, and what you've both been searching for was uncovered beneath the incineration facility.
In Flex's mind, he has done much magic to allow himself to be more powerful than he should be. One of those small acts of arcana was being able to keep a mental ledger. Almost like someone would keep a journal in middle school. And he writes a couple words. Flex of the Sea. Crosses it out. No, that's dumb. Pearl Arcana. No, that's dumb. And then does his best to focus back on what's happening around him.
Oh, man. Pearl at this point is just kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot going through their mind right now, actually. I think for one of the very rare times, she's just kind of speechless. Like, normally she has, like, some quirky comeback or something, but she's just actually, like it's her turn to kind of be, like, uncentered and unsure.
Mm-hmm. He continues, beneath the facility, down a deep hole, you will find a pool that shimmers like the night sky. Pearl of the Sea. When he lays eyes on this pool, you will remember what was forgotten. And Flex Arcana. You will find your mother beneath the pool, but you'll need the help of your friends if you want to bring her back.
Flex makes a contorted face, and then forces it into a smile, which subtly nods into a look of acceptance that he nods into.
Hey, Kayla, before you go, have you ever had a sandwich with up dog on it?
What's up, dog?
What's up with you? Not much.
Oh, no. The recording's coming to an end. The recording's coming to the end, and I got. No. Errol, I'll get you back for this, but I promise I'll do what I can to look up what's going on your end with the fire. Just please be careful. And then the recording ends.
Hey guys, check this out. I'm gonna grab the record player and I'm gonna start scratching the records.
What's up, dog?
I'm gonna do an impromptu remix of what he said.
Yeah, Flex thinks for a moment music's playing. Maybe I should dance. No, that'd be so weird. And then it's just awkwardly shuffling by himself. Hey, we had to go fix an ice machine, right?
Yeah, we should probably go do that.
I promised high school boy energy.
Yeah, there's kind of a inferno over there we should probably deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pearl has just remained quiet, and Errol, given the adventures you've gone on with them, you'd know that this is unusual. But yeah,
Flex lowers his pace half a step and increases his burning hot heart by double.
So,
thinking she might be cold.
So, I don't want to pry, and you're welcome not to comment on it, Pearl, but what exactly is it that you're looking for?
Well, I suppose you could say that I'm looking for me. I mean, you two talk about having mothers, and I don't know if I ever had one or not. I was trapped in the astral plane for, I was told, 80 years or so when I was a child, and I don't remember anything from before that time. I had almost given up on actually ever finding out anything from my childhood. And I don't know if I should be excited or scared.
Is your biggest concern that you won't like who you were, or is your biggest concern that you aren't the person that you think you are?
I think I don't know if I want to know. That's going to change who I am now, whether I like the information or not, and I don't know if I want to change.
This is very important. Can Flex hear this?
Absolutely.
He is a man who has piece by piece rebuilt himself. A man who has lived his life like in the echoes of a mother he never truly knew. And he wants to say something. And like every question, every statement that Pearl makes, he's like, oh, I could say something. No, don't. Oh, I felt that way. No, don't. And he just quietly, in his blazing, like Rudolph leads with a big red light.
Yeah, like normally Pearl would pick up on something like that, but she is so lost in her own thoughts, and her like her whole thing is confidence and just doing, So it's really hard for her to be in this space right now where she is insecure, like totally unmoored, doesn't know what to do going forward.
Flex is picking up on that and knows it is definitely not his place to try to moor her in this moment. She is going through something he has felt before, and trying to give her advice would be biased at best.
I don't have a solution for you, but I'll still be your friend.
Yeah, me too. He says like too quickly.
When you said that, I just imagined like in Shrek with the knight holding up the say "aw, aw." The studio audience is just "aw."
Yo, he looks back. How far away is this freaking ice machine? Right, guys? I feel like we were talking for like a real long time, and like
you're actually approaching it. It's 3 miles away. Brisk walk. It's within sight distance, so you make it to it.
Flex definitely tries to run fast just because it feels good to physically remove yourself from the impetus of emotion.
And as that happens, you guys just get hit with the harsh cold of literally the Arctic North Pole. Like,
ooh, could I take damage to remove it from my players?
Take damage?
Does damage exist in this system?
Yes.
Could I suffer so they don't have to make a check?
Honestly, it's not going to really matter.
Yeah,
Could it
because Pearl
narratively?
Nah, man, because Pearl runs right after you. As soon as that heat's gone, she's like, oh no, I need your warmth.
The way it works is that everyone has HP in the form of what's called resolve. And pretty much you have 3 resolve. If you take damage and you lose all your resolve, you're pretty much out until the next scene. Because no one dies in Christmas because you're all Santa's little helpers. You just respawn.
Bruh, I'm Krampus. I'm supposed to collect the dregs of society and punish them for not being good enough. Quite literally. And as I feel somebody running up behind me,
I mean, yeah.
I run faster.
I feel like we make pretty speedy progress to the incinerator at that point then, because Pearl's not going to stop running. She is cold, man.
I would say my little legs would be a detriment, but I also have a perk called Lightning Quick, so I'm going to swiftly trail after them.
I try to like real cool dude be like, hey bud, and like let you crawl up on top of me, but like really it's just an excuse to flex. Flex Arcana, lovely to meet you.
So you're wearing a Krampus costume, so you've got like a basket of switches. Can I like hide in the basket of switches and like hold a switch?
Oof. How quickly do you go in the basket?
I don't know.
Ooh, you can
go ahead and
roll for this.
roll for
You
it.
can roll.
Yeah.
Are you saying that because you wouldn't want me in the basket?
I take my job seriously, sir. I'm paid for a task and I do what is asked of me.
Well, if you
Well,
weren't
that's
into
just-
it, I wouldn't get in the basket. I will just walk behind you quickly.
Well, it's more like, do you jump in it quicker than I can prevent you from jumping in it?
I don't think it means that much to me. I'm just, it was just a thought.
Oh, then I definitely am like, oh, no, bud. No. That's for bad kids.
Oh, he doesn't consider you a bad kid. That's great.
All right. So about this blazing inferno.
That we definitely need to keep you away from.
Well,
What is this about fire jumping at you?
Yeah. So
Yeah, what the heck was that, dude?
I don't know. I don't recall a dragon spirit entering my body, but apparently it's attracting fire towards me, which I did notice when you tried to pass me the cigarette earlier. The flame brightened and the embers flew towards me, and the stovepipe hat tried to like flare up on me. So it sounds like he's onto something.
I just like wordlessly pull a cigarette from my pack and put it close to your mouth, like expecting you to just blow outward.
Wait,
Does
is
it
it
ignite?
lit? Or is it?
No, it's not.
Oh,
okay.
you're expecting me to breathe fire.
I'm checking to see if you do.
No, he doesn't.
Well, hey, that's a good sign, bud. I light a match and ask him to blow again.
It as you blow out, the flames get a lot brighter and a lot stronger than if someone normally blew. Like it's not like how those fire breathers, how it looks?
Yeah.
When you do that, it's like you were doing a fire breather trick.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's not great, bud, but now we know.
I got pepper breath.
You got pepper breath. I looked like to Pearl like desperately. He got pepper breath. That's all it is.
Yes, pepper breath. That is all it is.
All right. Well, let's just keep you away from the flames.
I think I've
And
been
our
hitting the nog a
clothes.
little too hard. That might be part of it.
I know a little trick. If you were to remove your brain and replace it with like a big old crystal, you wouldn't have to worry about that noggin shit no more. And he knocks his head knowingly.
He has like a goblet with like a moose head. And he's like drinking eggnog out of it. Anyway.
All right, we're gonna have to fight something.
I know. we just keep role playing.
Hey, but they're loving it. You don't watch a Christmas special to watch people make toys.
As you approach, the warmth of the billowing fire coming from the facility is comforting, if not concerning. Although the flames lick their way out of the windows, the structure remains intact. It's as though the structure was designed to sustain such widespread damage. So this incinerator is not just like a closed thing and like doing its job on it. This thing is like on fire.
Does it take an engineering mind to notice this? Or is it like obvious, like, oh no, this whole thing was an incinerator?
You're asking about the when I mentioned the structure remained intact, or it seems designed
Like it
that
was
way.
designed for it.
Incinerators aren't necessarily designed to be like to withstand being caught on fire, but this one does. Like I know incinerators are, I don't know from experience, but I'd imagine that incinerators are more designed to do their work, do function over like structural integrity. Though all buildings, I'm pretty sure, are designed for structural integrity in mind, but this one seems like it was. This seems like it was designed to be on fire. if that makes sense. So that's
And that takes just a casual glance.
for you, you would be able to catch on it like that. For the other two, they might need to kind of think about it, but you would definitely know because your character's like a tinker, an engineer. You'd be able to understand.
I light a cigarette off of it and then motion towards it casually and go, "Oh, this building's evil." Like, you see how the fire's coming out the windows and like how the doors don't open outwards?
Is it supposed to be like that?
Well, I guess that's the question, isn't it? He takes another long drag.
Okay, question. Are the flames from the incinerator currently going towards Errol?
The windows that they're coming out of are high enough to where they wouldn't be able to reach Errol. So, like, you guys would be able to enter through the front door just fine.
So I have a question. You said the structure was designed, from what Flex understands, the structure was designed to be on fire. So are we talking like an oven that?
It almost, yeah, it's like black as coal. It looks cool as hell.
Is this a Burning Man situation?
This is like what an incinerator would look like to like a kid who being told what an incinerator is. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to draw an incinerator. It takes like makes it look like a gothic structure with like flames coming out. Yeah, this thing looks cool.
So they said that this building, but they made it sound like this building caught on fire, right?
The original situation was there was a drill inside drilling into the ice. It hit something and malfunctioned, and everything. It pretty much the entire building went haywire. And now it's not supposed to be shooting out fires. It's supposed to be drilling the ice and then melting it into drinkable water. Now it just looks like.
Sorry. No, it's containing the fire, though, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he was containing it. Now it's not, but it looks like it's designed to be like this, the way it is now.
It should not look this rad.
Right, that's what I'm wondering. It was normal looking.
That's the perfect way to say. This thing looks cool and looks like it's going to like. It looks like you're walking to hell, which is cool.
It's form over function. Like, this thing was designed to do another task, but as we approach it, it's like, oh, somebody did something.
Mm-hmm.
Or did somebody do something a long time ago?
This was a structure that was constructed by St. Lucia and Poppy Linden. Remember, they were the ones, and the Fire-Breathing Kittens were helping out as well. So these are all structures that were recently built to do the jobs of making toys and making a holiday and melting the ice caps to send fresh water to everyone to temporarily. Go ahead.
I guess the thing I don't understand is, like, was it originally like an industrialized building that has now become Beetlejuiced and is like twisted?
It was always supposed to be Beetlejuice.
Okay. So it was intentionally designed that way.
Yeah, but not like the purpose was Beetlejuicing. It was just like, oh, if it gets Beetlejuice, at least it'll look like this.
This does not sound like an operation that was meant to help children.
Why do you think I said we burn this thing down? They're deciding who is good children and bad children.
But it's already on fire. I'm so confused.
Yes, there's been a fire burning within our society for the entirety of existence. Nothing is real. Kill your masters.
How do we burn it down if it's already on fire?
Well, I don't want, well, you seem to be negatively reacting to fire, so,
I don't particularly like it.
Me and Pearl could go in.
Maybe you can walk through the fire, Errol. Maybe you're immune.
Yeah, that makes more sense. And he immediately lights a cigarette.
I mean, considering my history, I don't think that is true.
Well,
I have lots of burn scars.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is a bit of a tricky one. We could just pile a bunch of snow on top. Maybe put it out that way.
What other are there? How many other parts of this building are there, and like how much of it is on fire? Is the entire structure on fire?
No, not the entire structure. You see, like windows on they're high up windows, and fire's just looking out of the windows. It's not a structure on fire, but you can definitely see fire coming out of it. Like you'd be able to enter without like just running into fire immediately.
If you were to give us a percentage, how much of the structure is on fire?
About 30%.
Okay.
And how much of the structure is in danger of the fire?
It looks like, to be honest, it looks like the best way I can describe these flames shooting out of the windows. You know how like pyrotechnics, like I have flamethrowers shooting fire out, like in intervals. It sort of looks like that.
I'm pointing back to my compatriots and saying, like, this was planned. Look at that. Nothing looks that rad naturally.
Well, if fire-breathing kittens were in charge of the design, then I can completely see why it looks like this.
Are there any... So sometimes industrial buildings might have large water containers atop the roof or something like that. Do we see anything in the area that might provide an ability to help try and put some of this fire out?
No, nothing you can see or think of would be able to douse these flames like you guys were saying, like just dumping a bunch of snow on it. There's nothing available for you guys to do it.
Well, Flex puts out his cigarette then and just like casually goes, well, somebody's going to have to figure out the source, and walks straight into the building without fear in his eyes.
Mm-hmm. Hot air rushes past you as you enter the incineration facility. It's like
Good thing I don't breathe anymore.
It's like stepping into an oven and a freezer at the same time. Hot and cold intertwined to trick the senses with a sensation that could only be felt here.
He presses a rune on his arm and like raises it up towards his heart as he lowers another rune down the other side of his arm, trying to create a sense of temperature control, though this is still very painful for him. His simple arcanic tricks to mitigate the feeling of being burnt alive are not enough for the flames and the cold and the changes in temperature, which makes his skin brittle around him. But it can always be replaced.
Mm-hmm. And as you push the doors in and the light, your eyes adjust, you see it's a really nicely lit room, and you see a bunch of like safety signs and like ropes. It looks like, those red ropes that lead you in somewhere, like you stand in a line, like lining up for something, seem to be leaning towards the front door. And there's also a safety sign saying, like, the incineration facility, we here take care of our employees, and like your typical like employee jargon, like, wash your hands for 20 seconds and it's like it's a list of things like safety tips and whatever. And you see it's one of those mechanical flippy signs, and it seems to be caught on a piece of a wastebasket or just something. It looks like it's mechanically trying to flip, and it stops, pauses, and then tries again. I don't know if you've ever seen a machine doing that. It looks like it's waiting to flip, but it's being blocked from flipping.
I chose Tinkerer as one of my Christmas skills, I believe. I believe casting of the spell Mending might be within that. I follow the line, even though as the flames lick at my heels and my flesh, like turning my skin black.
There's actually no flames here.
I'm not making a robot mad, brother. I go through the line properly and then mending the thing so I am appropriately within the system next in line.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mending on the sign, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So you're getting in line nice and orderly, and you mend the sign. It moves, the thing that was blocking it moves, and you hear like some clicking, and that nice employee, like sort of that company poster thing that I was talking about like the good and all the things that are happening here, flips, and you see a badass poster advertising a death gauntlet, Adventure's Death Gauntlet.
What?
Now, I've established that my heart can burn hot. Can I think of bad memories and make my heart go cold?
Yeah, that would actually add to you could actually use that as a bonus at some point with your crafty.
I remember me clasping my mother's hand, or the front of her coffin, probably empty because I wasn't allowed to see in. And I remember how bad that made me feel, and how I need to remember that need to make me tough.
Mm-hmm.
How I need to harden my heart like steel. And in the same way I provided warmth to my compatriots, I try to cool the path to the next adventure zone with my hardened, frozen heart for my guild mates.
Mm-hmm. That'll definitely come in handy. I'll keep that in mind that you have a heart that can go hot and cold and can affect people's rolls with it.
Thank you, miss.
Mm-hmm. So so like I said, that sign flipped from like a company, whatever kind of sign talking about like safety practices, wear steel toe boots, wear your hard hats, come to work on time, teamwork makes the dream work, the works. It flips over to this thing and it has this really cool, like how you saw outside, it has like the giant gothic structure with like flamethrowers shooting out. The Incinerator Challenge. Are you brave enough? Test your adventuring skills in this state-of-the-art death gauntlet designed by the world-renowned gauntlet architect, St. Lucia. Bring your friends and work together to pass multiple challenges and win fabulous prizes. So that's what's written on that advertisement.
Flex is standing directly in front of it, like motioning out with an extended hand. Just a little bit of coolness, saying, all right, come on. Everything's going to be all right. Even though the thing behind him says Death Gauntlet.
I think Pearl just kind of does like the Scooby-Doo look like from the side of the door, realizes that Flex has actually done something to make the room accommodating in temperature, and just like walks in and just scurries like right next to him. At this point, she considers Flex her personal thermostat.
Flex breathes. It's not like a weird breath, but it's something that maybe Pearl would notice as she clasps.
Absolutely, she would.
Yeah, I would gingerly and very cautiously enter to join them. Also, I would like to know, GM, is there like a chalkboard that says like it's been this many days since our since our latest accident or our workplace accident, and what is the number?
You actually do see a sign. It's weird because you see another sign like that. It's like the one that Flex was talking about. It says this many days since workplace accidents, and you see like a pretty sizable amount of days, probably the same amount of days since you guys have worked here, or since you guys have been, or since they set this place up. But you see it's flipped around as well, and it's talking about number of participants since opening, and so it's 0 so far.
Yeah, this.
So
was
it's another one of those signs that
clearly this was intended to lure us in here.
Yo, Errol, get over here, man.
There's also a sign that's talking about like how this death gauntlet works in case people are signing up to do it. And it's talking about you bring your friends and you go through challenge rooms and you might die, but if your friend gets to the safe room, you'll be revived and you can try in the next area. They don't include insurance for like traumatic experiences of like blood curdling deaths and being burned alive.
Again, without fear, once everyone is close enough to be in my little globe of cold, I like look over at the sign they're probably making eye contact with over my shoulder, and I read it for the first time. And I blink, and I smile. It's me every time, buds. Ain't nobody can take a beating like old Flex. And he flexes his robotic arm that he lost a long time ago.
Well, I'm not alarmed at the deathmatch thing, but Pearl recently taught me a lesson about lying to people, and it's kind of concerning that now I'm like on the opposite end of it, and it feels awkward and uncomfortable, and I just really, the fact that they were like, oh, we have this accident, but now we're in a deathmatch room, I'm like, come on, man.
I look at the like blazing pyrotechnic flames around us and lock eye contact with you and go, so we're going to turn back now?
No.
Or are we going to keep pushing?
We can go.
He makes like a soft noise of light concern.
I will admit, I don't think that this is how I imagined us spending our time here. And I do feel some trepidation towards going inside. Not mostly because of this shimmering night sky pool at the bottom, but someone very clearly wants us here. And when somebody is driving a fire-breathing kitten towards something, it's almost worth checking out every time.
Yeah, no, so I'm totally on this page with you guys, but just this whole thing is giving me bad vibes. Like,
oh, I completely agree. It is really rude of them to have lied.
Do you think I'm getting good vibes from this?
I don't know.
And like you see Flex is stepping closer. I imagine this is like a Borderlands boss barrier where there's just like a thing you step into and drop down a chute into the boss battle.
Mm-hmm.
It said bring your friends. This wouldn't be a show if there wasn't an audience.
Yeah, and I mean, according to Kalamon, there's something you both are going to find really important at the end of this, so I'm down to help you out. So let's go.
They specifically said a pool. A pool that
shimmers like the night sky.
I don't know if I'm supposed to get into it, but when they tattooed this insignia on me, when that ink touched flesh, it meant that I gotta take care of y'all. Me before you, always. And he pauses, just like Mama said.
I'm actually curious, what does night sky taste like? Like...
Probably grape. If I had to take a guess.
At this point, Pearl just like it's one of those audible eye rolls and just like puts a hand on Flex's shoulder and says, lead the way. Just kind of gives a gentle push. Brave leader.
What does the vastness of space taste like? Probably grape.
You didn't ask that, but there was, I don't know how long ago, but I think it was this year, Coca-Cola sent out a new flavor. It was like Midnight Sky or something, or Night Sky, and apparently it was s'mores flavored. So maybe that's what it tastes like. I don't know.
No, I like probably grape. Moment. I think that's the best answer.
Great. I like probably
great.
Sorry. All right, yeah, let's go.
As soon as Pearl touches him, his whole body was ready to like fall by himself. And then he tenses as like somebody reaching out to him causes him to grab back, and he looks terrified in her eyes as something he did not want to happen happens. She falls into the pit with him. This was supposed to be his thing. And now...
Nope. Never going alone. Pearl never lets someone go alone. No matter how much sass she gives them.
You have to go to the break here. As two people lock eyes and clasp each other, unwilling to let the other one fall.
And then Errol's just like, it probably tastes like grape.
I think it tastes like grape, as he just body, like, full belly flops on top of each other.
All right. So you guys you're standing at the edge of a pit, ready to fall in?
Well, not any longer.
Oh, you guys are going in there.
Flex freaked out and grabbed too hard.
Yeah, whatever we need to do to get into the gauntlet, like we're falling into it. We're doing it together.
Okay. Because it wasn't originally a pit. It was more like a door going in.
It's fine.
An emotional.
Right, then I take a level of druid and I wild shape into a badger and I dig a pit.
It's an emotional pit.
Yes.
Oh, I use my Krampus magic to create punishment for the inability we have to feel true emotions. And thus, we have become bad kids because we're being dishonest. It's never nice to lie, and we fall into a pit of our own making. Does that work, DM?
That works. That works. So you guys want to cut it here? Go on break?
That would be great. I need to refill on water anyway. And I think that's a really good, like, emotional
It's cinematically
start.
perfect.
Yes.
Of just like, he falls back, she reaches out, he grabs a little bit too hard and pulls him into the metaphorical pit he's living in.
And with that, we're heading on break, everyone. Joining us today were Flex Arcana,
Shoo!
Pearl of the Sea,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to push you that hard.
No, this is my bad.
No, it's
This
my
is more
bad.
about me than it is about you.
I find that very hard to believe, but okay.
Thank God this pit is so long. Maybe we could talk about it. Like, maybe we get coffee.
and Errol Corvidbow.
It's probably grape.
And also, we have a review.
Yes. Cornflake97 says, left us a 5-star review, which says, found this podcast on Reddit. Looked at the past history and it seems inclusive. Have not listened yet, but has tons of promise.
Oh, that's nice. Well,
Right?
thank you for reading that. All right, everyone.
Just vibes alone.
All right, we'll be back soon. Bye.
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 Today's mid-episode shoutout is from Efficient Arachnid 9, who says, quote, "Our world is dying. The Great War threatens to kill us all. Caught in the power games of the Mad Fire King and the spiteful Ice Queen, I must do everything to protect my little sister. Queen of Frost and Ice. A dystopian fantasy novel inspired by the Snow Queen, available as audiobook." End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shoutout at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. We've got books on Amazon.com. If you want to curl up with a good book, we've got one for you. We've got audiobooks on Audible if you want like a really well-produced, better version of the podcast. Lastly, we don't pay to advertise our show, so the only way we can grow is if you tell someone about us. They won't hear about it unless you tell them about it. Thanks.
Welcome back to Fire Breathing Kittens. Does anyone want to do a quick recap of where we what just happened, where we left off?
A sudden split screen occurs. It cuts between two people's memories. Flex's and Pearl's. Flex hadn't seen her before. He took this Krampus job because it paid good enough. And he thought he could, bring a little bit of justice to those bad kids out there. St. Augustine, Silver Dragonkin, nice enough lady, working with somebody, Pepperdine, Peppermint, something like that. But, he finds it hard to focus. He's been with the fire-breathing kittens, but, he's always held them at a little bit arm's length. Can't get them let too close, because if you let somebody get too close, it might hurt when they go away. But, Pearl. ... Scene cuts to.
Scene cuts to. So basically, Pearl and Errol had just been hanging out in the toy factory up in the North Pole, believe it or not, trying to make fresh water and send it out to all the good little boys and girls across straws. And then Flex enters the room. Now, there wasn't anything quite so noticeable when he first walked in, but then he started acting all awkward, a little cute, saying something about his mother. Prime target, really, for Pearl's usual barbs. But before they could really get off on the right foot, Saint Lucia, not Augustine, ended up asking them to go and fix a drill in the incinerator room. So the drill is the thing that goes into the ice to break it apart, and then the incinerator melts it, and then that water is bottled and sent across straws. Well, the walk over there was rather interesting. A lot of opening up between all three of the fire-breathing kittens. And even upon approaching the incinerator, which was full of fire, it still didn't seem quite hot enough as the interest between Pearl and Flex. And so they ended up entering the room, Flex making quite the brave sacrifice, or at least taking the chance for a sacrifice, entering the burning incinerator first. And we found, an advertisement, I suppose, for a death gauntlet by St. Lucia in the incinerator. Something is afoot here.
Flex doesn't have to do this. He can just put his thumb to another person and give them a small boon of his cold heart. But he presses his thumb to his lips and gently places it on Pearl's forehead. Go ahead and scout ahead for us. As soon as I think you're out of earshot, I look to Errol and go, "Yo, what the hell's going on with Pearl, man? Do you think she likes me? I'm freaking out over here, dude. I'm doing my best, but I'm losing my freaking mind." And you see he's glowing. His clockwork pieces are like smoking. Like, it's cartoonishly apparent that he has been holding down a panic attack for the past 45 minutes.
So, GM, I think this is a good time. If Pearl's going to be going and spotting or scouting, what room are we in and what do we see? And then I can report back once the guys are done talking.
You step into just a large room. There are conveyor belts moving around, heavy machinery. You hear just banging and clanging in the distance around a corner. There's a ladder leading down to like a deeper part of the room, like almost like a cellar area, and it's actually filled with water.
You know, Flex, Pearl and I, the first time we really encountered each other as friends and colleagues in the Fire-Breathing Kittens, I had a habit of lying to people about my capabilities. We found ourselves investigating a casino, and I lied and told everybody I knew the casino because I'd been there before, because I had a habit of lying about things to impress people, and she deliberately called me out on it, and I was so taken aback that I didn't know how to respond because I'd never been challenged like that before. And when you opened up, she seemed to be taken aback herself, which is another thing I have not seen before. So we are in totally uncharted territory for me, and I really don't know what is happening. But I will say she is a very wise and perceptive individual, and it seems like she has an interest in you, whether it be romantic or not. So I would say that you should just don't screw it up.
He like puts his hands in his head and goes, "Well, duh. Why frick you think I'm talking to you?" But all right, I know you got a complicated relationship with your mama, but the way they tell it is that when my mama and my daddy met, he done tried to rob her, and she shot him dead in the chest. And then he like apologized for like all the wrong he had done in his life, and she like took pity on him and was such a font of the true meaning of femininity and forgiveness that she made my daddy a good man. So I guess what I'm asking you is, does Pearl know how to use a gun?
I don't think so, but she has access to magic and other things that are equally dangerous, so...
But this is a good plan?
I don't...
He's looking at you with wide dinner plate eyes. This boy has actively avoided any sort of father figure in his life, and I think canonically knows very few males.
The best advice I can give you is that whenever you encounter a sort of cosmic event in the universe, it's best to be involved and not to ignore it. Like when there's a shooting star.
Okay, no, I got this.
Okay, so I'm just
no. Finish your statement. I'm sorry. I'm feeling real hot in the chest.
So essentially, when you find a shooting star or something that is like a rare occurrence that might never happen again, you need to take the chance and do it regardless of whether you think it's a bad idea or not, because you're not going to get the chance again. It's not going to come back again. Like, you should seize the day and just do it.
Flex full-on kisses you on the mouth. Pulls back and says, "Hey, thanks, bud." And then confidently walks through the flames. Again, like his skin and clothes burning around him.
I think he would run like right into Pearl as they're coming back from scouting.
It's a feeling when you know, like, somebody's eyes are already on you when you're in the room. And then you look up and you're like, oh, yep, I was right.
Well, I just finished the scouting the area ahead. It seems as though there are some conveyor belts and machinery we'll have to probably acrobat our way through, if I'm being honest. There's a ladder at the far end that leads to a cellar, and the cellar appears to be filled with water, so we'll likely also have to swim. It's a rather daunting room, I'm not going to lie. Any ideas?
A slow grin has been just creeping larger across his face like moss as she delicately explains the situation around them. He had a plan in his head. You see his fingers tighten as he resists the urge to use them. Well, I think we should find the source of the problem. But if you remember that smart old divination guy, that scryer?
Kalamon, wasn't it?
Said specifically had something to find in the pool.
Yes, I suppose that is true. I would have thought the pool was something... Well, GM, did that look more like Starry Night sort of looking water?
No, it was just melted water.
Did it taste like grape?
It was just melted water. It was just fresh melted water, not the poison water like that's been infected in Niqamui and around the world. But it's not shimmering like
it's like the ice has been melted, but maybe like the bottle machine has stopped working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
It looks like a bunch of water because it does. This facility melts ice, so it's kind of, if this place is gone haywire, it makes sense that certain places would be flooded.
You look at the person across from you standing just a little too close. He has not even attempted to think about this next step as to why it would be a good idea to go down there.
Pearl will make direct eye contact with Flex and just say, "Do you have any ideas, Flex?"
I want to hear yours. My ideas are bad sometimes. I think we should just go find St. Augustine.
Lucia.
I'm sorry. I'm not much for religion, but I believe that he's like biting back words as he's like, I shouldn't show this part of myself. But then I believe some people need a bit of violence to correct their behavior. And I'm not one to shy away from it. So we find this saint no matter what she's called. And we convince her to just simply tell us what the big picture is. And you notice, like, he was sort of like holding his chest with his right hand. No, his left hand. Flex is left-handed. And as he's saying the latter part of his statement, it slides towards the gun at his belt. Like I said, I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I can't say that I don't think action isn't required, but I think we'll get a lot less answers from Saint Lucia than we would trying to find them ourselves, if that makes sense.
He like grins a little bit. I'm a gun. Point me in a direction.
Well, there's a very handy conveyor belt that leads over to that ladder. Let's see if we can make our way through.
He moves first, quickly, and with careful observation of the person around him. People. He then notices a second too late that there's a third person nearby. Oh, shoot, my eye must be off. He flicks his robotic eye.
So you guys, just to kind of remind what this first room is, you enter in, there's a conveyor belt leading around. It kind of does a 90-degree angle turn. It's going pretty fast, too. So it'd take a bit of effort to jump on it and then jump back off of it. And then you also notice, like I say, the room extends downward, and there's a ladder leading down to the lower part of the room, and it's flooded. And it's all one big room, and like I say, the room goes forward and extends, like does a 90-degree turn left.
So Flex looks with like hot eyes and goes, "Yo, I've been working here for a couple weeks, and even though I ain't in the toy department, you know I've been playing with the sticky hands. I think I could tinker myself up a way for us to sticky hand our way on the conveyor belt to add us a degree of safety. Or, now he shuffles a little bit. I'm, pretty sure that wet ladder leads to a pool of water."
Well, I certainly don't know anything about sticky fingers, so I'll leave that in your hands.
Ooh. All right. So, Flex, you're going to attempt to get everyone on the conveyor belt?
Yeah, the idea is I would use my tinkerer ability to create some, so, you know, like I can only think of the word gachapon, but the freaking quarter, you get the capsules, ba 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 boo boo, and they're sticky. And I want to make a big one of those with 3 tendrils. So everybody would be holding on to one end of the sticky hand, then we throw it onto the conveyor belt, and then when we jump on it, it's not just that raw break your ankle jumping onto, a 30-mile-an-hour platform.
Let me take a look. Okay, so for this roll, to do this, it's going to be a difficulty of 5, and it's going to be, since the trait you're using is going to be crafty. So, and since that's your main one, you get to roll 3 dice, and you have to roll at least a 5. Now, before that, you have, you have 3, in addition to resolve, which is like your HP for taking damage. If you take damage, you have what's called karma, which is pretty much skill points you can spend to lower the difficulty. So if you want to lower the difficulty from 5 to 4, you can spend 1 of your 3 karma.
Do I have to do that before I roll?
Yeah, you'd have to do that.
Oh, I thought it was
No,
after.
After. It says after.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, pro bono rules lawyer, because that was just a pitch to see if I could win.
Whoever said I was pro bono?
Well, let's explore that in roleplay.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling a 3d6. And I'm looking for a 4 now. If I use 1. Yeah. At this point, he's willing to risk it a little bit because he did not care about this job. He truly doesn't even really care about the fire-breathing kittens. And while he loves his mother and his family, like, he understands that the bigger message was live a good life. He knows he's going to need to be better than he often can be. So instead of being the most right now, he just takes a breath, thinks about the person he could be, and lowers the difficulty 1 dice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right now. It's all the time.
Nice. So you made it. You got it.
Baby, that's 2 6s.
Karma has rewarded you.
He's a
So that's-
good boy.
So something additional happens when you get multiple successes. So you got 2 6s on that, which means that, yeah, you're definitely able to craft that not just for yourself, but for the party. And you're able to easily like control yourself as you're traversing the conveyor belts. So you guys start riding the conveyor belts.
Yeah.
Could I play it off as like they both stick on and it like works pretty good, but then there's a moment where they start to slide and I just like drop to both knees on the conveyor belt, raise my arms up around me, pull their cords tight and make sure they're safe?
Mm-hmm.
Just so we know I'm really hot.
So,
As you do that, I would say that happens the moment you guys whip around the 90-degree angle because it's
Ooh,
really
yeah.
shaky. And then you do that.
Oh, they both fly off the side and I pull them back.
Yeah.
And I do a little laugh like,
And then you
no
Yeah.
big thing.
And then you see down the hallway, like the end of the conveyor belt is one of those big choppy gong, 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 one of those things. So, but you guys are off the side, so you guys are, and you see like a platform for you guys to drop off at the end of it. You guys are actually positioned, the way you described it, you guys are positioned easily to just drop off. You don't
I
even make a
look
check
back
for
to
it.
specifically Errol to see if like, was that cool?
yeah, that was real cool. In fact, so I just want to point something out here. Errol has not had a lot of, like, we'll say, experience in, like, kissing or any sort of thing like that. And he just got a full-on kiss from the first man that he's ever had a kiss from. And so it's a weird situation where, while he might not be particularly interested in flex, he actually liked that more than he expected to. And so he genuinely, in a very honest way, goes over to Pearl and is like, you know, he's pretty good.
Oh, yes.
And-
Those sticky fingers were incredible. And the way he saved us, like, he is very good.
And he looks good doing it, too.
The tendrils of sticky things I've created are a little too sticky and they just rip my shirt off in that moment. And it's like, it's just back, but that's more than enough.
Oh, listeners and players, I'm going to introduce something fun just because you did that right after your shirt gets ripped off. So there's a thing at the very end of this rule book called adding a twist to the story. You can actually roll dice to improv like a weird thing that happens depending on what pair of dice you roll. And there are different they don't say exactly what, they just leave a little picture. And you can interpret that picture as to whatever. I'm going to interpret what happens after his shirt gets ripped off. What happens?
Well, it has to be Errol, right? Like the one who,
I'm just going to come up with something random with what happens here. Oh, okay.
Love hearing that from the GM.
everyone is red.
So I'll say what I rolled after I explain what happened. So yeah, you guys, his shirt comes off. You guys land on the platform. You guys are taking a breather. And you look behind you where you came from, that right angle, and you hear some machinery. You see these metal rods sticking out from the ceiling, and they start blowing out flames, and the flames go all the way down to the water, and they start running, and they start slowly coming your way. So, listeners, what I rolled was a 1 and a 1, which is a little candle, and there's a flame on it. And if you turn that candle upside down, it looks like a flamethrower shooting flames downwards. So that's why I made this happen. So you guys have a limited time to get up and run.
Okay.
And you can kind of see the flame.
do.
You can kind of see the flames curling a bit and kind of pointing towards Errol, just a little bit. Unnatural, just a little bit. So you guys all notice this. There's a door that has a safe room labeled to it, like really, really close by.
Flex immediately drops to his knees, thinks about what if he was alone again, and then turns ice cold, creating essentially a shield spell around them so his friends can safely make it to the nearby exit before he comes in firmly last.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be sure, can we go to the safe room or can we like dive into the cellar and the ladder?
Yeah, the safe room is where you guys want to probably head to, but it looks like there's nothing down there in the water.
Okay, I see. Gotcha. So it was more like
It looks like
checkpoint.
there was a way to climb up or attempt to climb up. There isn't a ladder on this side, but you could attempt to climb up the walls or the railing going up.
Okay.
If you decided to go into the water.
I just wanted to make sure that like the safe room was something that we could reasonably be like, oh yeah, we're going to be here, but not like derail the game. Because I definitely as player thought that like the goal was to get to the ladder and then swim down or something like that.
No. That's you'll know when the pool hits. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys will know. Okay. I'll definitely let you know. There will definitely be a description if it looks like looks magical and sparkling.
Okay.
And
cool.
yeah, you guys
Good to know.
haven't gotten to the drill yet.
Cool. So then Pearl will kind of just like scoop up Errol and kind of like a protective, you're not going to get burned this time sort of thing. And as she's running past Flex, so she's a dragonkin, she has a tail. Her tail's going to wrap around Flex's waist and just like trail him along behind both of them.
You feel a very tough man go limp as he happily lets you take care of him for just a moment. Like you feel his like lower legs, like his calves, like ready to stop at any moment and start running, but you feel his waist and his chest relax for just a heartbeat.
No one else can see, but she kind of smiles to herself as she bursts through the safe room door and closes it firmly behind everybody.
You all right, Errol?
This has been a pleasant experience for me. I'm feeling very comfortable.
Good. I'm glad he's okay. And he like starts to like clasp Pearl like an ally, but as soon as his arm gets halfway there, he pulls back and just like nervously scratches his chin.
Pearl will give Flex a like pat on the back. Yes, I was rather worried about him too, what with all the flames leaping at him.
It was a very scary moment.
It was very scary.
So Errol had nicked a bottle of brandy because he was, he was drinking some nog earlier, and he's gonna pour a couple of glasses of brandy and like hand them to Flex and Pearl and like offer that to them. Like, hey, you guys, we could use a breather for a second. Would you like a beverage while we,
I've been hanging out with this guy Willie. He's pretty cool. He knows this guy Tanger. And he pulls out like an emergency kit of cocktail accoutrement and rims the glass with lime and like puts a little, sprig of some delicate fantasy thing and just like touches it up a little bit. Very careful to never make eye contact with Pearl, but making a lot of nervous eye contact with Errol. Yeah, I heard this makes it a little bit better. And then he click, 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 puts it back in his coat.
I mean, I was worried about the flames at first, but you guys have been doing a really good job of like keeping me away from them, and I like that.
He Flex fully downs the drink and goes, well, you know, the most important thing in life is taking care of the people close to you. And it's about being strong and letting the people around you make you better. And you got a lot in you, Errol. And he reaches down and gives you a little clasp on the shoulder. And there's a lot I could learn with you. So it'd be a damn shame if you died now.
Yeah, it would be a damn shame.
And we're gonna make sure. Yeah, and we're gonna make sure nobody dies tonight, except the bad guys.
I'll finish my drink and I'm ready to go.
With that said, the bad guys, confetti and like party balloons come fall from the ceiling as soon as you say that. And you notice you guys are in like a typical break room there are 3 small gifts on the table with a plate of cookies. And you notice some signs just kind of around, like showing like what appears to be workers, but it's like one of those, they look geometric in design, almost like they're just made of different color. They kind of look stained glass. They look like little stained glass little fellows, if that makes any sense. Like with hard hats and giving a thumbs up and said, "We're the good guys." and holding up like like wrenches and just doing typical work around the area. And you see a bunch of these posters with these guys around, just kind of hanging up and just work motivational posters.
So the room we were in melted away from us?
No, the door closed behind you.
Oh,
and you guys made it to the first safe room. But yeah, there were a plate of cookies and 3 gifts on the table.
Hey, little fellas, are these from Saint? And then he looks like
Lucia.
Two Flex from Saint Lucia, aka Santa Claus, and that's Santa like normal, and Claus spelled like claws, like dragon claws, because he's a dragon. So Santa Claus.
Is there a gift for each of us?
Yes.
Flex is dealing with the fact he was in a very romantic, excited mood, and this just sucked all the energy away. And like the crappiest kid on Christmas, he opens his present like viciously, like just wanting to see what's inside and not enjoying the fact that he was given a gift.
Okay, so listeners, I remember the adding a twist thing I mentioned earlier. I did the same thing. So this is what you get. Flex, you open it up, you get a stuffed like Rudolph plushy thing. I rolled a 1 and a 6. I didn't know what else to do with that.
What is the quality of the stuffy?
It's actually very wonderful quality. Like, it's actually amazing.
Well, Flex wants to be angry, but then he notices that with his robotic right arm, the Arcanotech appendage that he's attached to himself so he could continue to adventure and wouldn't be limited by the fact that he's not strong enough to fight against the things he fights against. And that he feels the lack of feeling as the metal touches the soft bit of plush on this Rudolph. And he thinks about the moment when he made his heart burn bright to guide his friends. And for a second, his hatred towards this person who is deciding who's good and bad dims. And he doesn't say anything.
What's in my box?
You open up your box, and it's actually a nice feathered tricorn hat. Brand new, brilliant colored feathers. For this, I rolled a 5 and a 2. That was Santa hat.
Well, tricorn
So you
isn't
got a hat.
tricorn isn't my usual deal, but maybe I can try something new for a change.
Mm-hmm.
I will hold it. I will like. Does it have a like a chin strap or? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I like place it over my neck and like dangle it on my back so I don't have to like put it over the top of the giant gingerbread man thing that I'm still wearing?
Yeah, you could do that.
Alright.
Yo, dude, you could probably just take the ginger man bread thing off at this point.
Yeah, you got a good point. Why am I even wearing this?
Like, truly, why?
I don't know.
It has not affected us at any point. Hey, can I say one thing, though?
Yeah, what's that?
What's up?
That's a nice hat.
Thank you.
But, like, truly, what the heck is this supposed to mean? And he points at his, like, adorable little boy's Rudolph plushie. Like, you got a hat.
These did have our specific name on them, correct?
Yeah, so why did I get why you got it, because, like, you're a captain, you're clearly master of your domain. Shoot, like, you've been helping me out all night.
Oh.
So why did I get the baby boy doll?
No, if you think I have it together, I think you've pegged me wrong. I would say I'm someone who definitely desperately tries to make people think I got it together, but so
Well, you know what the beautiful part about that is, bud?
what's that?
That's what everybody else in the whole realm is doing.
Yeah.
Do you think any of us are doing well? Or do you think we're all just trying to hold it together best we can?
Well, I grew up without having the typical parent. Well, clearly you and I both did, which I think is something we can bond over. But my birth parents, weren't there for a lot of my life, and I was raised by a sort of a black market dealing halfling woman who was also a babysitter. And she showed me more love than I think a lot of people get from their own biological parents. So, you have this idea when you're growing up that the people who are taking care of you know what they're doing, and then you get to a certain age where you're like, you know what? They didn't. They had no. Like, half of them don't know what they're doing.
Yo, Flex full on laughs with you and, like, puts a hand around your shoulder and, like, passes you the bottle and is like, hey, your lips to the God's ears, brother. I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say Pearl.
Yeah, so like while you guys have just been chatting, Pearl's literally been spending this entire time just like shaking her present, like trying to figure out what it is from like sound, weight.
Something's hefty in there. It's solid, and it kind of makes a slight beep noise. Something when you shook it. You have no idea. Do you open it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You open it up, and it's a megaphone.
What?
It's a megaphone. It's a megaphone. You're not sure what to make of this. None of you are sure what to make of your gifts. I rolled the bell. I forget what the number was. What's it saying?
No worries.
It's just a loud bell, and I just thought, you know what? I had to think of something random. Megaphone. There you go.
Megaphone. Well, I don't think Pearl probably hasn't come across a megaphone before. So after she has failed to guess what the gift is and then opens it, they're just like...
You see a button on the side.
A button. They press the button.
Right in the Flex.
Flex tries to play it off like his eardrum wasn't just exploded. oh shit! You really got me there.
I'm so sorry. That was I didn't know what would happen. Honestly,
you know what? Like honestly, I was actually planning on replacing this ear anyway.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
Flex gets a little nervous. He's like, "Oh, does she think I'm weak?" I just said that to deflect away.
And then Pearl's just like, was literally just saying is like, oh yeah, you've replaced so much else. Like, I'm sure you were at some point. And then just goes back to like minding the megaphone, trying to figure it out.
Over her shoulder, he opens his mouth no less than 4 times to speak, but each time closes it out of her view. Just like, no, that's not the right thing to say.
Eventually, she gets the megaphone working, and she points it at the both of you and says, I'm so much louder now. Now my words can cut from further away.
Oh, that's horrible to get the pearl now that I think about it.
Yep. Thank you, GM. I appreciate this.
You can't run away from me.
Hey, we had like a mission or something, right?
All these little tiny gifts that make no sense, but all the sense at the same time. Little reward for getting to the first safe room.
So I just want to say before we go, I don't know that this has any bearing on like what the gift means to you, Flex, but the legend of Rudolph has always kind of frustrated me a little bit, right? So like everybody wrote Rudolph off, but then the one time everybody comes asking for his help because he has the one skill that they all thought was like lame or stupid, and he just buckles and like goes along with it. I really wish he could have gave him the middle finger, even though I know he has like hooves for hands, so...
What I'm gonna extrapolate on that point and explain why Rudolph is the best. But what room are we moving to? Because Flex wants to go down in the pool. Like, to be frank, for a number of reasons. So I guess as Flex starts walking towards the ladder, he says, he didn't buckle. He just understood that even if people treat you sideways, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be a good person for them. Somebody could kick you in the face, spit in your hair, stab you in the stomach. But what makes you different than them is your ability to stand up, forgive, and try to put them right on their good path. And that means you gotta be strong. And like for a second, you notice every replacement of Flex's body is every time he's failed. And he wasn't strong. And he had to replace it with metal or arcane deals with some devil. You gotta be strong all the time so you can help the people that hurt you. Hey, thanks, Errol. I think I get it now. And he had the Rudolph plushie hanging from his pack, but then he puts it in his pack.
Yeah, let's go down this ladder.
Yeah, nothing emotional is gonna happen down here. Sloop.
You make it down the ladder and enter a next room that seems to be the main manufacturing area where all the bottling's done. You see broken glass everywhere. You actually see some molten glass over like in the corners of the room. Fire's just blaring out, and then all of a sudden the intercom comes up and starts playing some siren, some horror, like terrible sirens calling call. I don't want a lot for Christmas. And then Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas starts playing. You guys, it's driving you guys insane. You can't think straight.
Yo, I
and
wish
you
for
get a penalty
advantage
to all
against
your
this
dice
because
rolls.
that's a banger, and I love that song.
I like that song too.
Absolutely not.
I'm
my
with
God,
you.
so-
I'm with you.
Sidebar with player, I don't like nothing against the artist, but as a younger kid in choir, we sang that every single Christmas for like my 8 years of choir, and I can't stand it anymore.
I'm so glad I'm so glad at least the majority of the players can't stand it. Yeah, I can't.
No, you are.
I think we're
firm
50-50 right now.
50%.
Yeah, we're 50.
Oh, we're 50.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as Flex.
Yeah. Last Christmas is the ultimate Christmas song, though.
So this is what I'll actually do. I'll just say, well, I'm not a player, but I'll say that the ones who aren't affected by it, honestly, won't be affected by it. But Pearl is, so you're affected by it. So you're going to have to work around it. Yeah.
Pearl, what's wrong?
The song.
I dropped to my knees.
She's like grasping her head, the side, like where her ears are. She's like, this song is destroying me from the inside.
You just need to understand it, Pearl. He
There's
clasps
nothing to
your
understand. This is heinous magic.
Pearl, all I want for Niqamuismas is you.
That's title card. How do you even spell that?
Niqamuismas, I gave someone my heart, and the very next day they gave it away. But this year, my voice has totally changed. To save me from tears, I want to give it to someone special.
Oh my God.
Great.
Oh man. Oh.
Here, Flex, I have an idea. I'm going to try and grab the megaphone from Pearl.
Okay, yeah, definitely you can.
Say it with this. It'll counteract the sound.
Last Niqamuismas, I gave you my heart, but the very next our equivalent today, you gave it away. This our equivalent here saved you from tears.
I
I'll
give it
to some Pearl special. Once bitten, twice shy. Like if
That's
anything,
great.
him getting way too into it and like continuing to sing well past the lyrics you needed to break the spell.
It did break the spell, actually. Yep.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
But
That was good thinking.
the laughter she gets of watching me just go 3 bars too deep.
Yo, I'm
Truly.
thinking Heath Ledger in like 10 Things I Hate About You.
And canonically, Pearl is a bard. So I think like this would be really special to them. You know, like most of the time, Pearl is singing for others as a way to uplift them. And this is the first time someone has done that for her. And she just can't stop laughing. Like in a good way. Like huge smile on her face.
Canonically, Flex is an artificer, and first level ability can make a small device to repeat a sound in Infidium.
Oh.
I love
Yeah,
that.
go and enchant that megaphone.
A third or a second button appears. You feeling better now? He says like nothing happened.
Much better. Thankfully, I didn't have to get my eardrums replaced yet.
Well, I know how to do it if you need it. We move on to, I don't know, the next plot point. Flex just straight up looks around.
Flex is just like passing through these rooms, no problem. He's having a lot more trouble with his like, will she, won't she like me or not sort of thing than like this gauntlet.
The music
Well, it's
kind of,
like-
you know how like the music kind of like you hear it so long, it just kind of drowns out and it's just background noise. That's what that siren's call is now. It's just, and other music starts playing on the intercom. So it's just playing Chris's music at this point. Just kind of the background. Chris's music backing the sounds of metal crunching and whirring of machinery. Yeah, you see flamethrowers going off on the sides, and you see what looks to be really, really colorful shards of glass along the floor, and you see that it's shards of glass that's between you and the next safe room at the very end of it. It looks like it's a room that goes into a smaller room that has a window looking out, almost like sort of like an overseer's office.
So we gotta put the colored glass in to make a picture over the overseer's office in the empty windowsill.
I would not have thought about that, but that's a rather good idea.
Errol's still vibing to Christmas music, saying, "Simply having a wonderful Christmas time."
Good King Wenceslas.
As Flex and Pearl are kind of piecing together this puzzle piece mystery, or puzzle piece puzzle mystery, what have you, and Errol's like simply having. And what you hear, Errol, you hear like a zombie groan behind you, and you look around, and it looks like a molten, rainbow-colored molten monster lurching towards
God.
you.
Oh, wow.
It has a hard
Flex
hat.
immediately stands, pulls his gun, puts 3 shots, head, heart, lungs, walks up, beheads it with his blade, throws the body into his satchel as he has for Krampus to contain bad little things.
It's
Takes a
molten,
breath.
though.
Hold on a second. Before that, Errol, go ahead and roll a challenge roll.
No.
It's just 5 just to avoid, to dodge out of this way. I don't know.
Now my
Where's
perk is
your
lightning quick.
Yeah. So you could definitely use your perk to
So
reduce the difficulty.
yeah, I'll do that. I'll use a karma
This
to
is just
reduce
a-
difficulty.
A basic just swipe attack at Errol.
So I would roll 3 dice,
Yeah, 3 dice.
and I
And
can
then
lower
you
that
don't-
to 4, right? Because of
Yeah,
the.
you can lower it to 4 if you don't roll high enough, or if you want to get a bonus.
Oh, I didn't need to. 5.
You got a 5. Did he get a 4?
I
At
got
all?
a 5 and a 1 and a 1.
Oh, okay.
But I just have to beat it
Oh,
once at
just-
least, right?
Yeah, you just have to beat it once. And fun fact, if you had 3 dice and you rolled all ones, it'd be a critical failure. And same if it was like 1 or 2 dice. If you roll all ones, it's a what do they call it? I think it's a critical failure. That's the wording for that. Adds a complication to the scene. But no, you just made it fine. So you dodge out of the way and then Flex, you go with a shoot it. That would be, well, it's up to you. I guess it'd be crafty. And what's your perk? Or do you have that up?
Honey, you know I don't.
I think your perk was uncanny charisma, right?
That's right. You both had the same. Uncanny
Yeah, we have the same
charisma.
perk. And the same trait. Like, we're both crafty, both have uncanny charisma. I think the quirks are just different between the two.
Flex,
Not a metaphor.
you're able to use 3 dice. And if you're able to use uncanny charisma with this, you could lower the difficulty by 1. But to shoot it, it's a difficulty of 5.
So there's a moment as I pull my gun, my mother's gun, and point it to this thing's head. It was probably something before it was this. And I attempted to appeal at that. Back off right now and don't ruin the moment, or there will no longer be moments for you to ruin. Does that, can I use uncanny charisma?
Yeah, go ahead and roll. And let's see what you... Go ahead and roll your 3 dice. Let me know what you rolled.
4, 1, 5.
Ooh, yeah. If you use uncanny charisma... If you didn't use uncanny charisma, you'd only get 1 success and you'd just be able to shoot. But since you're going for this uncanny charisma to, like, convince it, actually something good happens. You go to shoot it. You're going to be able to shoot it, but you convince it to back off instead. And it goes, and it just takes its hard hat and tips it towards you like a cowboy, and then turns around and starts hobbling away towards the conveyor belt.
Like, coming off the high of doing something cool, he turns back to Pearl and says, "Now what were we talking about?" And then you see embarrassment flash across his face as he thinks he's done too much.
You've done too
Something-
much. As a GM,
I
you've
know.
done too much.
But Pearl just keeps eye contact and says something about puzzle pieces and putting them together.
Yeah, you were, he, like, clenches his teeth and he's fully without words. And, like, he's been trying to play it off cool this entire evening, but he, like, looks at you with sincerity with, I don't know what to say. I've painted myself into a corner.
And that's when Pearl just finally lets out a laugh that she's basically been holding in the entire time. You don't always have to have the right thing to say, Flex. You're enough as you are sometimes, silent or not. And she starts putting together the glass pieces to see if she can solve the puzzle.
He waits, then definitely tries to grab one of the pieces the same time you do. Smiles, laughs, and they put together the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a cunning roll or a crafty roll.
Okay. You mind if I do it since I haven't gone to roll yet tonight?
Sure.
I rolled 5 5s. The power of love, baby.
5 5s?
Yes. Is there anything special for that?
Wait, you rolled 5 5s?
Oh, sorry, 3 5s.
Oh,
My bad.
I was about to say, whoa. I was like,
No,
where do those
no,
other 2
3
dice come
fives.
from? I
No,
would have
good
said
call.
re-roll it. I would have said re-roll 3, but then they were all 5, so it wouldn't have mattered. We rolled 3 5s. Yeah.
3 5s.
Yeah. So what are your hold on. What are your there are so many words that are kind of the same, like perk, quirk. What's
yeah.
your perk again? It was
Uncanny charisma. And then my quirk is cheeky. I'm definitely been cheeky.
Oh yeah. And by the way, the quirk only comes into play if you want to make the roll more difficult to recover karma or resolve.
I see. I haven't spent any of that yet, so unless I can do that for to help, since I know
But you did
Flex
get
has used it.
You did get multiple successes, and you got 3 successes. Yeah, you could. Yeah, make magic happen. Pearl, you are in control of this. Flex is coming up. He's helping you out. You used your uncanny charisma. You use your uncanny charisma with it. You've got him. You do whatever you want to with him.
Like when you're hanging out with somebody
and you solved the puzzle.
Yes.
they're a little bit like Flex looks a little bit tired, but maybe in your heart you're like, no, I want to keep him awake a little bit longer.
Yeah. So once they finish the puzzle, Pearl kind of nudges Flex and says, I think we did a pretty good job together.
He looks at her with sleepy eyes and then sees her and the content smile on her face, and he perks up, renewing his previously lost karma or whatever.
Yeah.
Flex did good.
So what does it look like?
Oh, it's it's a diorama of three it's a stained glass window, and it has a diorama of a Christmas tree with 3 big colorful wrapped gifts underneath it. That's what the window what it forms into. And yeah, that opens the doorway to the next safe room.
Oh, I really do hope we're able to find that pool soon.
Errol's gonna go in quickly to get out of this room to,
Get away from fire.
to give them space because I see what's going on here now.
There's more than one kind of fire, Errol.
Yeah.
As soon
And while
as
Errol's in
Pearl's-
here, it's making it burn harder.
when Pearl says she wants to go to the pool, even though that's what Flex has been asking for, he runs to Errol.
And as
Hey,
soon
what's
as
going
Flex,
on, dude?
yeah, as soon as Flex bolts, Pearl's just I cannot keep that man in one place.
You were so good at that success, you made him dart. Task failed successfully. So, Errol, the first thing you notice in this next safe room, of course, the confetti falls out and balloons come down. And you notice this seems to be a manager's office, and you see on the little desk plate with the name Saint Lucia. And you see paperwork talking about plans of this death gauntlet that he's pretty much planned as an architect, and plans to retrofit it into a makeshift incineration facility for the fire-breathing kittens to use.
What? So they took a death gauntlet and are trying to turn it into an... But, all right, I'm just going to
Are you saying this out loud?
Yeah, sure.
Continue.
I'm just going to take the paperwork and, like, I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but I feel like I need to hold on to it.
It's legitimate paperwork. It's signed by higher-ups, like with the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild. It seems like this would... To put it bluntly, from the information you can gather, this facility was originally designed to be a death gauntlet, but St. Lucia was hired to help construct this facility because with his powers with being able to construct buildings like gauntlets, which is his main focus, because he built the gauntlet and what was the name of that? What was the name of that one episode? It was one of the earlier ones. Oh, Tastes Like Stained Glass Chicken. He's a stained glass dragon that created that stained glass gauntlet, and he's like a gauntlet. He's a gauntlet constructor, or he's like I can't think of the name. He's an expert on making these things and making these buildings really quickly. And this was one of the newer ones he was about to build, but he was contracted to build a makeshift incineration facility for melting the ice. So that's why it seems like it's a death gauntlet, and why it's being used as a legitimate incineration facility. And there's signatures from him and what's the name of the guild master?
Nulisag.
Nulisag, thank you.
It's just so confusing. It's like if I took an entire butcher shop and used it to slice deli meat. You know, like.
Well, hold on, my baby boy. And like Flex puts away his emotion for a moment, and you feel the temperature in the room drop just a few degrees. It might seem silly to use a whole butcher shop to slice meat, but why? Even if it's a dumb reason, there has to be a reason behind it. I ain't much for the FBK. Seem like nice folks so far as I know them. But this don't seem to line up. And he lights a cigarette and then looks to see if Pearl thinks it's cool.
I'm gonna rifle through this desk and see if there's anything else cool while that's going on.
Nothing more in particular. You just see the schematics for sort of like the rooms, and it actually shows old schematics of the Death Gauntlet and new schematics about how things were going to be swapped around to accommodate for the change, for making a makeshift water melting bottling facility, including the drill. And you notice that there's a schematic for like switching a mode from functioning incineration facility to Death Gauntlet. It's just a switch in the drill room.
Okay, because the drill is the problem, right? Like that's the whole thing, is we're supposed to fix the drill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the drill hit something, shook the building, and the building went haywire.
Well, I don't know about you all, but my mind is a little bit other places. So how about we just fix this problem and then go back to our day? His eyes flit to Pearl and then intensely to Errol.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we just need to go ahead and fix this. I guess press on.
Is there anything in the schematics or in the map that will get us the quickest route to the drill?
Yes, the quickest route to the drill is a long hallway leading from... It's pretty much a hallway leading to other offices. Imagine a factory and then there's the office area, and there's a long hallway that leads... It goes to like a maintenance area that's sort of connected to the maintenance areas, has a door that goes to that drill room.
Okay, let's go and take that path then.
Is thematically in the very center of the entire facility. There are many other rooms. You guys have just crossed into these specific ones. It seems like they swap around and move around, moving parts. Changes up the challenge rooms, just like an awesome death gauntlet made by St. Lucia, but not awesome right now because it needs to be in working condition to make that bottled water to save Christmas. By the way, you guys are saving Christmas by doing this.
I think you mean Niqamuismas.
Niqamuismas.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, Flex has been feeling so hard. It's his wards and his machines inside of him are overworked. And normally it's like a perfect temperature around him, but you can feel like a slight fluctuation as he's still trying to lead and be the Rudolph of the group. But he's tired.
As Flex leads, Pearl will once again put a hand on his shoulder, and the coolness of her scales kind of it probably doesn't like fix the fluctuation, but it makes the heat flashes a little more tolerable.
There's an uncomfortable heat discharge as you feel like the raw tension of him rush into her hand. And like even a little bit of steam might escape as her scales touch steel. But that's the best he can do to express comfort in this moment.
Why are you guys blocking the move on to the next room? Like, let's go.
Shut up, Errol! Flex barfs.
No, Errol,
amazing.
you are absolutely right. So sorry. And Pearl will, like, her hand lingers on Flex's shoulder as she moves in front of him and opens the door and says, "Why don't you give me a chance to lead for a little bit? Rest for a spell."
Flex forgets what 3 times 3 is as he makes such fundamental space for this memory.
Oh. Yeah. So Pearl's going to lead down the hallway. Is there anything like traps or, I don't know, stained glass people or something? I think we just want to get through this as fast as possible, honestly.
Flex
well,
does.
this is actually, since this is the office space, it doesn't seem anything out of the ordinary. It seems like just to your left is a dead end, and to your right are just rows of doors leading to different office spaces. Shiny McGlassicans. Let's see. Window Smith, just as names of these different stained glass workers that he has employed here.
I once heard of a parable, someone named Sandley or something like that, where there's just an endless maze of office rooms. And the deeper you went into the maze and the more you went against the prescription or the prescripted path, the stranger things got. Just makes you wonder, you know?
Ah, the Sandley parable.
Yes, that was it.
But
Nice.
wasn't the message of the Sandley parable that there is no correct path? But I ask you, there can't be a single answer to the Sandley parable. But I gotta ask you, Pearl. He pauses as he thinks how cute it would be for his southern boy to have somebody named Pearl in his life. Could it be an office pool? The thing we were supposed to dive into?
Well, I suppose there's a chance, but I would find that rather dull, I imagine. It has to be a little more exciting than that.
K Bono. Who
All right.
benefits from what we're going through in this moment?
Well, I think at the moment we do. From what I can tell, this is really just a repurposed factory. At the end of the day, the wrong switch was switched by mistake or perhaps on purpose. Maybe we'll never know. But I'll be honest, Flex, I'm in this for me now, not really for anyone else.
He says under his breath, yeah, me too. And moves back to the second safe room, moving past it and looking to the tiny glass presents that were presented before we entered. And I attempt to open one.
Oh, the tiny.
Was there
no,
was there
there
a
were
second round of presents?
no, there weren't a second round. The presents were the presents I mentioned. The glass. That was the puzzle you put together. Remember, it was a window, and you guys put together.
I was just double checking to see how personal this quote unquote death gauntlet, which in my head I've been calling the love gauntlet, is tailored to us. Is this just for us? Because if it is, someone cares about us, and being FBK, they would probably be upset if we burned it all down.
From what you've gotten, those first things of gifts, it was sort of random, but they were nice. They were nice gifts, but they seemed very universal. They could have been given to anyone. The megaphone was just random. It seemed like they just looked for something real quick and put it in there. But the hat was nice. It was, and they were addressed to you guys from St. Lucia, aka Santa Claus. And that's something. That's a detail you never got told, but yeah, that's what he's going at. So he's Santa Claus. So,
does anybody else have an idea before I go for a wild pitch?
Go for it.
I'm Krampus, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I have some sort of list of who's done bad in the world.
I see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So yes, I guess you. Well, I mean, sure.
I would like to look at my list and see if this patron saint of ours, look at how I delicately had to avoid her name, is she on the list? Or he, sorry, is a boy.
Oh, you're talking about St. Lucia?
Has St. Lucia done bad?
Well, no, he's Santa Claus.
Have I done bad?
No. From what this list is like how this is the list of everyone in the world. You don't have I wouldn't even say you have a list. You're more just dressed as the character.
So how would I decide who goes in the sack unless I was given the list?
You would have, I would say you have a list, but it's one of those bargain brand fake lists that have like just kids' names, but they're nondescript.
Oh, is that what you want to go with?
Unfortunately, this wouldn't make sense. I love your idea. I really, really do.
No. We just have to burn it all down now.
If fixing it doesn't work, I'm down with burning it.
I pass the list around, and I feel like even just the texture of the parchment it's written on denotes the lack of quality and care over who is good and bad in the world. This is all a farce, my friends.
What was the original job we got hired for? Because I'm having trouble remembering with all this death gauntlet.
Oh, yeah. So you guys were originally the FBK in conjunction with St. Lucia and Poppy Linden. Poppy Linden also has experience in like just fun events. So she was like planning like Niqamuismas. We're calling it Niqamuismas now. So she did all the planning and fun things on Niqamuismas. And St. Lucia, playing the part of Santa Claus, had part in constructing all the buildings. If you notice, he's a stained glass dragon, and the great grand toy shop you guys ran was made of stained glass. That's another one of his creations.
Okay. So I think I understand now. So basically, we were there to help the original plan, the original project, was which was to melt ice because there's no more drinkable water in Niqamui. And then to like bottle all of that and then send it down there.
Along with gifts.
Right.
Sort of on the down low. So
yeah. But the facility, which is the Death Gauntlet. So the Death Gauntlet was turned into the incinerator to melt the ice and turn it into water, which is then bottled. But now something or someone has gone or done wrong, and it's turned from factory to Death Gauntlet.
It went from factory mode to Death Gauntlet mode.
Yeah. So basically, we were there just to like help out and hang out with the regular factory proceedings, but now we're trying to fix the incinerator. And so I don't know if there's actually any like big conspiracy beyond like we need to get this fixed. And there's some stuff for Pearl and Flex, potentially.
So why did I get dressed up like a gingerbread man?
Because you guys were taking part in, I don't know, a play held by Poppy, and you were rehearsing. I don't know.
Team
That was
morale.
the original plan. That was the original plan, but I didn't want to get you guys derailed.
Just company policy.
We'll go with that. You got company policy. Yeah, Poppy came up with the ideas.
Oh my goodness.
She
Fair
came
enough.
up with
Okay.
all the ideas and including the fake list, including the weird gingerbread costume.
Flex has been slowly crumpling as Pearl speaks.
Well, I think we need to go ahead and get this over with. Let's find this pool and get out of here.
Pearl just like hooks her arm under Flex's arm and just like pats him. It's okay. Normally things are more complicated than they seem. Let's just be thankful this isn't one of those times.
He shoots to rigid attention. Like, you feel like as you casually just like put a gentle hand like comforting around him, every muscle in his body tenses. He does not know how to respond to physical touch.
Well, you guys make it to another dead end, but it's a door with what appears to be an electrical padlock, something technological, and it's locked.
Hey, I can actually do something. I will use my agile trait and try to unlock this thing since I do have a little thievery ability.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
So three dice, correct?
3 dice. And you gotta try to get at least a 5.
Would lightning quick, could I use that to lower the difficulty if I wish? Does that sound appropriate?
It is right now because that's perfect. So as
What
you
if
guys
I'm about to smash it?
No. This is what
Lightning
happens. I'm going to let you do this under. So this is what happens. This is going to work perfect. So you guys make it to this padlock, and Errol starts. I can do something, and you guys hear like this droning sound from behind you. You look back at the hallway that you saw that was a dead end, and it's slowly opening up, and you see rolling out a giant snowball coming towards you guys. So now lightning reflexes would make sense.
Well, I rolled a 6, a 2, and a 1, but a 6 would definitely beat a 5.
Yeah, your lightning reflexes definitely do that for you. So it's coming down, and you're able to do that, and the door opens up. The whole hallway, the door opens up like it slides out and just opens up the whole hallway. And down the hallway, you see you see in big neon sign drill room. But you're about halfway. You're about halfway between it and the snowball. So you guys gotta run.
Absolutely running.
I think about the moment I'm in and turn my heart on as hot as possible.
Ooh. Yeah.
It's like uncomfortably hot.
So you guys plan on running?
Yeah,
or-
seeing as I was in front of the door, I would definitely get out of the way so they could follow behind me.
You can use agile or might, or bronze, I should say. Brawny or agile.
I don't have either of those, so I would roll 2d6, correct?
You gotta roll a 5.
So I rolled a 1 and a 2, so I do not.
At least it's not a critical
Pass.
failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's running, but she trips on her costume.
Yes, on the coattails.
I would like to say normally I wouldn't leave everybody behind, but seeing as how they have been very competent this adventure, I'm not even thinking twice about it, and I just book it. And I got a 6.
Okay. Yeah, you make it over there.
How many am I supposed to roll?
If you're rolling agile or brawny, it would be 3. I don't know if that's one of your traits.
5,
don't
3,
think-
2.
I think you've got crafty as well. So
Yeah.
it'd be a 2.
Oh, okay. Let me reroll.
It'd be 2. What do you get?
6.
Wait, how many? Oh, 2 6s? Wait, what is that? What you?
Yeah,
is that
two
what you said?
sixes.
Yeah,
Oh,
re-rolled
my-
and I got 2 6s.
My gosh! So this is. I already know what you're doing. So you see Pearl falling out, looks up to you, and I'd imagine you scoop her up, and you're able to get both of you out.
I use my extendo hand because I tripped her in the first place. She was fine.
Oh,
But
no!
I went, go.
I was about to say, can we say, because Errol, your quirk is prankster, correct?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. We could just say that you tripped her. to give your boy
Give
chance
Flex that the chance for the save.
Yeah.
She was too far away, but because I am a man made of magic, my grip is farther than it should be. And I catch her, pull her close to me, and then quickly right her back on her own feet.
So smooth. Pearl is actually blushing for the first time.
Rose quartz is a beautiful color.
Oh.
Thinking about as the red comes across your silver.
Mm-hmm. Even deeper now. And she just kind of goes, well, we have a drill to fix. And she just starts walking off.
The door closes behind you, and you hear just a big, loud thud of the snow just hitting, blocking you guys sort of in, but knowing that this is the incinerator, it'll melt away soon. But you guys are now in the drill room, and you hear like it going ka-chunk, 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 like shaking because it's caught on something. And you notice that switch that you guys heard about before, and it's just a normal switch. It's one of those what it's a patented Kit switch. If you know the character Kit. Yeah,
Yep.
he's invented this switch that just goes from like one mode to another mode. It's patented by him. So it's just
Gauntlet and not Gauntlet.
yes, it's Gauntlet, and it's functioning incineration facility and Death Gauntlet. It has
I
two
take
modes.
the necessary levels in Rogue to use the disengage double movement action to move as fast as possible to that switch and then flip it.
Yep, you just flip it very simply. And
Does it make a satisfying noise?
Yes, it feels good to flip it. It sounds good, and you hear all of like the shaking stop, the rumbling stops, and things like lights that were like flashing red all over like stop, and then it just glows like a nice, just simple white. So seems like everything's back in order.
What?
And oh, 1 second.
Why do I feel like Kit had a hand in designing this?
I would say you'd notice like a little thing of like talking about the designer for that switch was Kit. Like just as a little footnote. Like he was contracted to like do that, like to make that schematic.
Yep, that sounds...
Because it was the Fire Breathing Kittens and St. Lucia working together. So yeah, I can imagine he was hired to like help out. And that was the switch he made. But he didn't account for the fact of the drill hitting something, shaking the facility really hard, and that switching on its own, and then turning into a death gauntlet. So that's just one flaw.
Does this mean that... So if I'm remembering Kalamon correctly, sorry, player, and I guess Pearl too, just like has finally decided like, we got to get down to that pool. Like, I need to know.
But before you go...
Is that I just wanted to ask, is it like down where the point of the drill is?
There is a hole there. Yeah. The room is cold, but not too cold. The floor is solid ice with a deep hole dug out. And you notice 3 Christmas gifts under a decorated Christmas tree with tags reading to you from Santa.
Niqamuismas.
And these gifts, remember the little gifts you saw on the table? These are pretty large, substantial gifts, and the wrapping is much higher quality. Nice foil ribbons.
Okay, well, Pearl won't beat around the bush this time and will open their gift first.
Oh, Pearl's going to open her gift first? Okay. Your gift, it's a beautiful stained glass lute with draconic runes etched into it. It's enchanted with magic that enhances the magical effects of bardic spells.
That's actually really cool.
Flex was watching, just not like too much, but just seeing her face as she opened this present. He didn't want to miss that. And then once she sees the joy on her face, he goes to his own and almost like matter of fact opens it.
For Flex, it appears to be a Magitech rocket launcher. It has modular damage settings with multicolored stained glass lenses representing different elements.
Immediately fires it 3 times.
I told
sick!
I told you it was like Borderlands.
Yo, did you see how cool this is? Tries to ride it like a horse.
Wait a second.
Pearl just like plays a few notes on the lyre, like brings out the megaphone, and then like presses the first button and plays the lyre. Basically, she's trying to see if she can like amplify the sound from the lyre. So if it works, cool. If it doesn't, that's fine too. She's ecstatic with her gifts.
Yeah, Flex is distracted as well. He does hear like the slight reverberation of magic touching his explosions and looks back just quickly to see what was it her?
There's a little bit of a smirk, and then she just keeps playing a few notes.
He stops playing so he can listen to her. Playing being shooting off massive rocket launcher. He puts his rocket launcher down.
And finally, Errol, you have your gift. I'm guessing you're going to open your gift.
Sure, go for it. What is it?
It's an enchanted rapier made from stained glass. You notice a rune on the handle. When pressed, the blade extends into a long whip.
Nice.
So some really nice, high-quality stained glass themed gifts from Santa Claus.
Flex slowly sidles up to Pearl. See, I'm sorry if this is too soon or too much, but I'd really like to go to dinner with you.
Only if I get to pay.
Good thing I'm broke. Full on, like, not plants a kiss on her, but makes all the movements like it's going to happen.
Absolutely. I think, so Pearl canonically does not know anything about societal norms. So she has heard of this happening, of kissing, but has never actually witnessed it. So she's just kind of like watching you and then trying to mimic your movements.
Flex is doing the same thing so hard that he is essentially casting like alter self or wild shape on his face. So you're a dragonkin. Like, he's a guy.
Yeah.
But he is like, hey, body, I know I ain't treated you right, but we need the lips to match up right now. And moves heaven, earth, and physical cells so he can have one nice moment.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I love it.
Errol is singing softly. Can you feel the attraction this evening?
I love that. That's awesome.
I think the kiss finally connects, and it's like very short and sweet. Definitely one of those, I don't know if I did it right, but that was kind of cool.
Flex shakes his face as his like maw turns from lizard like giantness back into a humanoid shape. as he feels the exact same thing.
Yeah. She smiles and just says, well, I think there's only really one thing left to do before we can go to dinner.
File a formal request
No.
for an interpersonal relationship within the guild.
No. I wasn't aware that was a step. No, I'm talking about going to that mysterious pool.
Oh, yeah, I totally want to talk to my mom right now. And, like, the moment is broken, but in a beautiful, delicate, like, we're just two people. We actually probably should look at this pool. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I guess. Yeah. What's mom doing?
All right, so you guys are now looking at the hole that the drill dug out. It's pretty easy to make your way down there. You can just kind of crawl your way down, slide your way down. The drill drilled in a way to where it's got that corkscrew kind of thing going on. So you could climb your way down, you could slide your way down.
Pearl and Flex know what this means, and she can see him fidgeting. She's watched him literally tonight walk into a blazing inferno without fear, but this is making him question.
I understand. But it's like you said at the beginning. If we're not going to do it, then who will? And she takes the first plunge and just slides down.
In a total reverse of the first act break, he reaches out, is pulled. She falls first this time, but he will never let her tumble alone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we love ourselves a parallel.
Errol's gonna grasp his other hand with his hand.
Oh, shoot, Errol.
I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you, Errol.
Extendo hand backwards.
So, at the bottom of the hole where the drill dug, you find a cave system. It leads to a dead end, where you see a magical pool that shimmers and sparkles like the night sky. Pearl, as you lay your eyes on the pool, memories of your childhood suddenly return to you. Flex and Errol's players, please remove your headphones. Pearl, you're 10 years old, standing in front of another magical pool with your brood mother, Amethyst. She seems to be finishing a lecture. And that is why you must never enter the astral pool. You haven't yet grown up enough to form an anchor to the material plane. You and your siblings will be ready to become wardens of the multiverse once you have served humble lives in the material plane for at least a century. I must now tend to important matters, so continue tending to the pool and do not think of diving in. Wait until you are older and wiser. She then sternly walks away, leaving you alone with the pool.
It's almost as though Pearl is both watching and acting at the same time. And there's this voice in her head that says, I mean, Mother said 100 years, but I don't think that really applies to me. And she steps closer and closer, both excited and a little nervous, but very confident in her abilities. And before the nervousness and fear that maybe she shouldn't be doing this takes over, they lean over and touch the pool.
Mm-hmm. You touch the pool, it shimmers and sparkles away, it gives way. You can kind of see the surface of another world underneath, and it smells like grape.
Oh, man. The scent somewhat takes her by surprise, and she follows the image and all of these other sensory aspects and only realizes it when it's too late that she's fallen in.
Mm-hmm. She falls in, and it's unlike a sensation she'd normally have because she can actually breathe under it. And she starts swimming through. She can see a surface of another pool coming to, and she swims up. As you cross the pool, you surface into another world. This place has a vaporwave aesthetic to it. Marble columns, palm trees, and neon colors wash over the landscape. The sky is filled with geometric shapes in place of clouds. Ahead of you is a pantheon-like structure. To your left and right are geometric buildings with flashing lights inside.
I think she's overwhelmed and would go to the central, like the big building, and just enter in it as fast as possible. Not even like it, she's already, it's almost like she's already forgetting in her disorientedness and her adrenaline. And she just goes to where she thinks she'll be safe.
The moment you take your first step, you push yourself away from the ground and begin floating into the air. With nothing around to grab onto, you helplessly float away. The world you observed turns out to be an island oasis in the void, now shrinking into nothing but a speck of light. And thus, your 80-year journey through the astral plane begins. You return to reality. And we'll wait for Flex's character to return. Yep. All right, so we're back.
Yeah. Pearl doesn't even get too close to it before she freezes
feels
up.
himself falling.
Yeah. She takes a step back from the pool, actually, and says, I remember everything. I did have a mother, and I left her. It appears even as a child I was a bit too confident.
Flex looks around with concern, hears not Pearl's words, but like the tone of her voice, and then whips his head around. And not entirely understanding the situation and not even needing to, he says, "What? What?"
I don't know.
He doesn't know what
it would be more, is all.
He doesn't know what to say, so he just pulls her close.
And Pearl will reach out a hand towards Errol as well, being a close friend, and just kind of takes in both of these presences, knowing that without these two and other people and her friends in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild, even if she had still escaped the astral plane, she would have made the same mistake. And now she knows she would not make that mistake.
For a second, Flex fully palms Errol's face and pushes him away. And then is immediately like, "Oh, no. And then pulls him back in close. Is like, "Hey, buddy," pats him on the shoulder, not in reassurance, but of, "Hey, don't tell her this."
Yeah, after a few moments of just having that shared closeness with her friends, and, maybe more than friend, she steps back and looks at you, Flex, and says, I think you should go. And she gestures to the pool.
Flex knows what was told to him, who he'll meet when he goes into this pool. He takes a hard breath. Mechanical lungs whir. Little bits of his chest glow as arcanic runes that are meant to represent organs light up as he takes a breath. He looks at Pearl in front of him. She might not be forever, but he knows he has to be whole if he's ever going to get someone like her. And he steps into the pit.
Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be Flex?
You see a dangling hand backwards. Like, he's not reaching it out, but if someone wanted to grab it, he's definitely not hiding his hand away.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the pool smells like grape.
Yes, it does.
Rad. Flex doesn't notice. He only smells like the sweat of Pearl's flesh. Like, he thinks about the subtle difference between those without scales and those with, and how maybe he actually enjoys the scent of stress on a scaled body more. Even her at her worst is better than most at their best. And his hand dangles backwards.
Yeah. At the last second, almost as though like snapping herself out of her own self-induced stupor, still holding on to Errol's hand, she reaches out for Flex's. And
he turns around quick as a whip and slaps Errol away, and then clasps him in the same moment. Errol, get the frick out. No, you're my brother.
Pearl wraps both of you in a hug, and all three of us just fall into the pool.
That smells like grape.
That smells like grape, yes.
Okay.
And you guys are able to breathe under it just fine. And as you cross through the pool, you surface into another world. This has a vaporwave aesthetic to it. Marble columns, palm trees, and neon colors wash over the landscape. The sky is filled with geometric shapes in place of clouds. Ahead of you is a pantheon-like structure, and to your left and right are geometric buildings with flashing lights inside. Curiously, you notice ropes and wires tied between objects at ground level leading all around the place.
Without really breaking stride, Pearl says, I know what to do now. And still holding on to both of you, even though there are ropes, she spent enough time in the astral plane to know what you need as purpose and what you need as an anchor. So her purpose is to get Flex to where he needs to go, and her anchor is all of the memories she's made being with the fire-breathing kittens, and she pictures the guild hall in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
You feel Flex.
You are absolutely grounded, like gravity is pulling you down to this place. In fact, all of you like feel a gravitational pull towards Pearl right now. She is grounded in reality. She is grounded in the material plane with her anchor.
Flex feels equally as hard.
Mm-hmm.
He is meant to move forward, but in this moment, he is as strong as she is and doesn't want to move forward. Because quite literally, metaphysically, he can't.
Errol's totally confused because he thought he was going to be in like a soup or something. And this is not what he expected at all. Like, I'm just lost. I'm like, what is happening?
You, I don't think I mentioned the detail. You guys went to the pool, swam down, saw the surface, and then came out another surface. And now you guys are here.
But we actually entered a fluid, like...
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But you could breathe.
Like the abyss, where you're like inhaling liquid into your lungs, but you can still...
Hey, Errol. Errol, yeah. I love you, bud. Do you mind scouting out ahead?
Not at all.
In silence, he just holds Pearl's hand. He just doesn't want to move right now.
There's nowhere to go but forward.
Okay, so where's Errol going to go first?
I have no idea what is going on.
There's a large, just think vaporwave aesthetic, and just there's neon colors, and the sky is filled with like geometric shapes. I don't know if you are aware of what vaporwave aesthetic is.
You're walking into a neon lit Parthenon.
So
there's a giant Pantheon building in front of you, and then two geometric buildings on either side of you.
Errol's gonna think of what Kalamon said about fire being attracted to me, and just try and focus on that and figure out where he's supposed to go, like based on what Kalamon told him, like the point of coming here was, as best he can.
Mm-hmm. You see ropes and wires, a mix of what appear to be like frayed wires that would be from like a modern day appliance, like tied around the area, and also like venturing rope tied around as well, like going all over the place, leading between these buildings and whatnot. But as far as you can tell, they're not in your way. You're not going to trip over them.
No, like
Hey, bud. All you gotta do is give me a minute to process. I think I might got this.
I'll just wander, I guess.
Just wander. Well, I'll describe a bit of the lands.
You don't want that.
Oh, you want to wander around my memories? I swear they're mostly good except for after I picked up the gun. And then maybe like as I'm holding Pearl's hand, you see flashes of things in the distance of when Flex wasn't a good man. All the things he's done, all the pain he's wrought, and the efforts of trying to be something. And Pearl just feels him holding tight because he doesn't want to face it all. And Errol looks at him as they lock eyes for the manyth time. Could you just go first, bud?
I tried. I don't know what's happening.
Hey, me neither, man, but we're inside my mindscape, I think.
Well, we're not quite. Here, let me demonstrate. And all you need is a sense of purpose. So let's go see what Flex needs to find. And Pearl literally just like with that thought in their mind lets themselves drift towards the Parthenon.
Even as fleeting and flash in the pan as it might be, he can't let go of her in this moment and is pulled forward away from his anchor. Something is always better than nothing. And he drifts through his memories, maybe, and we'll head towards the Parthenon.
And Errol, where are you heading? Are you following them, or did you?
In a beautiful moment, as Flex drifts away, you feel Pearl grasp out to you, Errol, anchoring you in a position in a plane that is not your own, as someone else moves on to experience something. Right now, the only place you need to be is here, next to her, for him.
Yeah, so I will follow along. I will go.
Make your way to that Pantheon, and at the end of the Pantheon is, you see what looks like a throne behind a table with what appears to be a crystal ball in the center. And you happen to notice a library, and you happen to notice like a shadow coming from that library over to your right.
I pull out my mama's pistol and point it right at the shadow's head.
No, it's a shadow like crossing by. So there's
I still do it.
Still doing it, yeah.
Hey, Shadow, won't you come out there from the corner? I ain't gonna hurt you. Mama taught me better than that.
Oh, is that a visitor? And is that another visitor? And you happen to hear that woman's voice, and it shocks you for a moment because it comes off.
He drops to his knees.
Yeah, when you hear it, and you see the floating upper torso of a blonde-haired woman or human woman pulling herself around using those ropes and wires strewn about the place. She's wearing adventuring gear that appears torn where the torso ends. The lack of a lower torso doesn't appear to cause her physical distress, as the cut-off portion reveals a void of nothing. She's also wearing a pair of bright purple shutter glasses pulled straight from 80s era fashion.
Flex takes a breath, smiles deep. Even if this is just an illusion, it feels nice. And he says, "Hey, Mama."
And she looks up at you. The woman looks up at you, and her eyes get wide, and she smiles and says, "Oh, Flex, honey, it's so good to see you again finally. I'm glad you were able to make it. It looks like all my messages did reach you." And she pulls onto one of those ropes, and just like by the force of pulling, it's like it's in zero gravity. She just her torso just kind of tumbles into your direction.
You okay, Mama?
Well, does it look like I'm okay? Look at me.
I'll cut you all down right now.
That dinosaur absolutely did a number on my lower body here. And
No, I know how to fix that now. I can build you right back, Mama.
you can? Oh, sweet. Honey, I really do appreciate that.
I
Thank you.
swear I can fix you, Mama.
Oh, come here,
And
Flex, baby.
he's crying at the lack of lower torso. He wants to like put his face in his mom's lap, but there's nothing there.
I know you will, dear. I've been watching you, and I've been watching your friends too. And she points at the crystal ball over there. Here, let me show you how all this works. You too, Pearl. I've been in contact with I forget where, an Amethyst. I've been in contact with her, and she pulls herself over to the crystal ball to show you guys. So she explains how the crystal ball works. She's able to get in contact with the people she knows, and the people who it sort of works like a telephone, and people who know the phone number can get in contact as well. So she's been in contact with both, or been in contact with the Amethyst, the broodmother, who is Pearl's broodmother, and it turns out that she was just floating through. So she died. Your Flex's mother died. During an adventure. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Fighting what was pretty much a dinosaur or like a T-Rex, and she got like bitten in two and swallowed whole.
Oh,
So that's the whole story behind it.
Well, it ain't never. I mean, I know she died fighting a monster.
Now is the way she did it.
Mama, you really think the most important thing right now? He like looks angrily at the crystal ball. Just, you know what, Mama? He stands up and brushes himself off. I would like you to meet my friends. This here's Errol.
Well, nice to meet you, Errol.
Hey, that's about enough out of you. And Mama, this here's Pearl.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Pearl. I've heard all about you. I heard that you're
pleasure
supposed
to
to
meet
become,
you.
and I believe these are for you. And she takes off those dumb-looking spectacles. And there's also a wonderful wardrobe for you back there. Fit you just nicely now. But she hands you those spectacles, and when you put them on, you don't really notice much. Everything looks kind of more neon and cool. But when you look at your friends, you notice that they all have like this luminous diamond like shining over top of their heads.
I'm full on whispering with Errol. I didn't expect this to be the way I introduced her to my family. I feel like I'm messing it up, Errol.
Y'all are doing great. I kind of feel weird being in this whole situation, so let's just keep it up. Keep doing a great job.
I feel like I want to barf and cry at the same time, but I heard that makes you die.
Errol, why don't you come and check out my new wardrobe with me? Apparently. I feel like Flex and his mother should have a little bit of alone time. But
I lean in close to Errol and say, please don't let her dress in my mama's clothes. I feel like that would be nothing good for me.
Tell you what, I'll do a fashion show. I'll try them on, and then you can decide.
He looks contorted. Thanks. Look, Mama. Like, he full on starts the combo.
We'll do Flex and his mama first.
yeah, for sure.
He starts before they're out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Mama, I don't ever think I really got to meet you.
Well, last I saw you, you were 10 years old.
Yeah, but I'm like 26 now. Or
I know.
something.
I know. It's been a while. I was floating in the abyss for like, I would say, a better part of a decade.
I feel like a part of me has always just wanted you to say you're proud, and I feel like maybe that would be enough.
Oh, honey, I've always felt that way. I am so proud of you. I've been keeping an eye on what you've been doing your whole life, and I know where your father stands. He's grieving for me, honey. You don't have to keep bringing this to him. In fact, I've been keeping myself sane with all these magical doodads here. Come with me and I'll show you. And she just grabs you and she just forcibly like pulls you like to show you something. But yeah, she's always been proud. She's been watching over you. She was there watching over you when you were fighting that giant alligator.
You don't think I'm weak because I gotta fix myself up all the time?
Honey, do you think I look weak, honey? I'd be doing the same thing you'd be doing, whatever needs to be done.
My mama raised me right, and he looks it.
Absolutely. But like, she's...
I know it's like inherently wrong to project too much on a new relationship, but like, what do you think about Pearl?
Oh, the dragon girl? Oh, she's really pretty. Yeah, she's, this is her rightful place. She's like, I guess what the brood mother told me, that Amethyst Lady, she's sort of like the ruler of this place, but it's going to be, well, kind of lonely, but she'd also be able to invite whoever she wants to come over like a party, from what I've heard.
So, you saying she might be lonely?
Yeah. Well, I've been lonely, dear. I've had nothing to keep me company but these doohickeys here. Here, take a look. And she brings you into this large room. It's like, just imagine.
Brother, she doesn't make it that far.
Okay.
I give her a polite kiss on the cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Mama, I love you. I'm sure there's many things you want to show me that would make me the strong boy you want me to be. But there's a lonely girl out there. I think I would be remiss to not go to her now.
You want me to come with you, dear? I can help you out.
I'm gonna be straight up. I think that would be weird. I wish you weren't watching me all the time, but it is nice to know you care. Like, on Dia de los Niqamuismas, I will happily create an altar to you and you can come in, but like, he like steadies himself with an uncomfortable level of pride. I think I know what to do now. I'll see you soon, Mama.
Alrighty, dear.
He goes to find Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile,
Errol's got like a sequin blazer with shoulder pads, and he's like teased his hair up and put like eyeshadow on, and he's like, and this one would be good for brunch.
Yeah,
I don't quite know. I feel like the shoulder pads are a little big already, don't you think? I feel like it's for someone with a bit narrower of a shoulders.
I've heard the bigger the shoulders, the more impressive and confident you are.
Really? Well, maybe the shoulders could stand to be a little bit bigger.
Well, my friend Kalamon wears leather pauldrons that are very large, so maybe I'm getting bad information.
Oh, Flux, you're back already. How did things go?
He smiles. Real good. Hey, you probably maybe haven't changed clothes as Errol has been playing mannequin the whole time.
Errol's gonna walk off and show your mom his blazer.
He crosses the distance between the two, says simply, "You look perfect."
Oh, you're just saying that?
I don't do a single thing in this world I don't want to do. But sometimes I get brave. And I was told there might be somebody out there who needs a bit of bravery in their life. Maybe I can tag along until you can shuffle me off onto someone else.
Well, I wouldn't want to become too brave. I ended up where I am now because of that when I was much younger. And while I'm glad it's led me here, I think there's always room for a little bit of fear, at least to be afraid of losing what you love. And I found something like that, so.
He, puts a robotic arm around your waist. Says, well, I heard dragons pretty good at regeneration. It might be a failing in my arcanic studies if I passed up the chance to be a whole man again. You think, you could teach me something?
Well, as long as you don't mind a little bit of purple scaling in the version 2.
I look beautiful in purple. Pulls her into a full, like, bending kiss. like, yeah, it's one of those, like, the whole scene circles in on, like, one of those points. And then the, like, French-style writing of Finn writes up.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
I'm happy.
Yeah, they're going for dinner. They're going for dinner when they get back.
Flex is gonna pick up like a 5th job. Just so she never has to want for anything. Do you know how hard it is for a man with but 4 limbs to keep a dragon happy?
Nice. I love it. I wasn't expecting this tonight, listeners, but I really enjoyed this. And I think that's a good place to end off. So joining us this session were Flex.
Hey, close the window.
Errol.
This color would go great if you're going shopping.
And Pearl.
Don't mind them.
Goodbye, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Merry Niqamuismas.
Debate This asks the bold questions other podcasts are afraid to ask about our favorite comic books and video games.
So far, all we know about Mr. The Rock's upcoming project is that it is, quote, one of the biggest, most badass games, and, quote, one that he's played for years. What video game adaptation do you think he will star in, and as what character?
The answers are, well, delivered boldly and confidently.
Kirby games, on the other hand, are all about his copy abilities, his powers. In short, guys, a Kirby game is about drive. It's about power.
No! Oh my god!
I will
Guys,
not be part of this.
Kirby stays hungry, yet he devours.
Find Debate This on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you download podcasts.
How did he slip this by us, guys?
No, how did we get
I did it!